Bow, banger management, fantasy hockey podcast. Woo!
Woo! Woo! I love that jingle. Woo!
Yeah, it's great.
when I don't hear it for a few days, I'm like I just start thinking about it randomly during the day, and it keeps me going. It's got a nice. I hope the listeners like it as much as we do. So
Nobody said anything bad about it, so I'm just assuming they love it.
I would. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't,
the only note we've gotten is when someone called out Jakey for singing it off tune when I'm missing.
I mean, how could they not?
Yeah.
Obviously.
But you're the songbird of our generation, You're
That's what
the
they're saying.
Brennan from Step Brothers.
Exactly. No, 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 no.
Okay. Without further ado, welcome everyone to Banger Management, the fantasy hockey podcast with Jake, Josh, and Kevin. Today is our part 2 of the
Could it be
playoff
today?
primer episode. What?
It is going to be the day.
I remember you saying
my
22
God,
to 24.
I'm
You were
sorry.
gonna give us some
I told
Oasis,
you
but
last week that I would do it. So let's Josh, do a rewinding. Nice. That was the best one ever. Okay. Welcome in to Banger Management, the Fantasy Hockey Podcast with Jake, Josh, and Kevin. Today is going to be the day that they're going to throw back to you. And also, just so happens to be, our Week 22 to 24 playoff primer episode. It's part 2 in our series. We did Weeks 21 to 23 last week, but we know a lot of you have Weeks 22 to 24 for your fantasy playoffs. Small tidbit to add here. I guess I'm kind of prefaceing a little bit today. I know Kevin's the preface king, but if
I share my crown.
Thank you. So ESPN, or depending on your platform, has wait, what? I can't hear you. What'd you say?
I just said you bow to no one.
Oh, literally the best movie series ever.
Yeah.
In the Discord, comment what your favorite movie series is, and if it's not Lord of the Rings, explain why.
Explain yourself.
So some platforms have the last week, which is week 24 in Yahoo, broken up into 2 weeks. It is a 2-week long week, basically, week 24. It's really tough to plan for. We'll kind of get into more of that later, but essentially if the last week is broken down into 2 separate weeks, as most fantasy weeks are in your platform, keep in mind that this can be relevant for those weeks as well. Because like week 25 would essentially be the second half of week 24.
How many times did we say the word week?
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely mentioning it, because I think it's ESPN that has like a week 25, which was just very weird. But what they did was this Olympic break got divided, so it was like in Yahoo, we're currently still in a week 18 or whatever it is, but for them it was like they're in between weeks, and the previous week ended before the Olympics and the other week ends after. So I think the timing still lines up for like the last 3 weeks of the season. It's just that they're named differently. So, but yeah, week 22 to 24 right now is covering the Yahoo Fantasy Week. So 24 is, I think, I forget the exact date, but it's like 10 days or something. And if those are your playoff weeks, please, moving forward next year, look to move it to weeks 21 to 23 or whatever the equivalent is next year, because that last week of fantasy, there's a reason why most people try to avoid it, because players are getting benched all the time. Stars are getting, held out. Anybody's a little dinged up, they're going to be rested before the playoffs. So it's really frustrating when you experience, your star players like not being in your lineup because it's the end of the season and they don't need to play anymore. So that's why just, well, I was going to say preface, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Don't do it next year. Don't do it. Talk to your commish. Don't do it.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, it's like April 6th to 16th. That's when the last week 24 is. So what the other platforms probably are doing are just doing a week. The week 25 is April 13th to the 16th. So yeah, let's proceed and get into our general playoff strategy. Before we dive in, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this video a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget, all the socials are in the podcast description. Give those a follow too. And the Discord community, where you're going to tell us about your favorite movie series and other fun discussions, are going on in there. Just click that link, make a username, and then you're in. You get to interact with us. There's a whole community over there. It's really been a a great part of this season is when we introduced the Discord community. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely, if you haven't joined yet, never too late. As Kevin said last week, now is the best time. Going a post-Olympic break, the last few weeks of the fantasy season, then going into the playoffs, it's definitely a great time to join.
The best time to join was yesterday, but the second best time is today.
The third best time will be tomorrow, but after that, we don't know.
Yesterday you said tomorrow. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
No, I want to watch Transformers.
All right. On that note, let's get into some general playoff strategy. So the reason we talk about playoffs this early, I mean, this is even not that early, it's coming up in a couple of weeks, but we've been talking about it all throughout the season, is because at the end of the day, you want to maximize your games played during the playoffs so that in each matchup, you have a decent games advantage over your opponents. Best way to guarantee wins is to stack the odds in your favor through games played. Everyone knows it. You get into a week, any week in the season, you play up against a guy, you look at the games played for the week and he's got 10 more than you. And you're just like, well, this week's cooked, like on to the next one. So what you want to do is stack it so that's you every playoff week. So we're talking games played. Then when collecting players with good playoff schedules through trades or free agency, you also want to take into account the off nights. Otherwise, the extra games played aren't going to mean anything. So kind of like the calculation, quote unquote, is for however many bench spots you have, that's how many off night guys you want to have on the busy nights so that you're avoiding benching anyone. And then lastly, when you're making trades to improve your playoff schedule, it's okay to give up slightly more value in the trade, because if a player averages like an extra 0.2 points per game, but they have half the games of someone else, then you're going to rather the guy with twice the amount of games in the playoffs. So these are all kind of general playoff things to look at. And when we're talking playoff schedule, we're talking, different players to target and all that. This is kind of the goal.
Well said. Any perfaces before we dive in?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I was going to say is if you listen to week 21 to 23, a lot of like the concepts are going to be similar. We're reiterating, but still going to be valuable insight. And then obviously the players we're going to discuss and everything is going to be very different. So really make sure you're taking into account what your playoff weeks are and you listen carefully, because the teams that we talked about, 21 to 23 or 22 to 24, some of them may overlap, but for different reasons. So it's important to just keep in mind, what playoff format is yours and put more emphasis on that. But still just valuable content talking about, all these players and how we feel about the rest of the season.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, one more thing I guess I'll add to this is that the weeks 22 to 24, it's tough to star players will be benched and stuff like that, and if they're out of the playoff race, that's also kind of a tough situation. But those teams fighting for the playoff schedule, I've said this a lot, like the weeks 22 to 24, those players are even more valuable. So like if New Jersey goes on a run, they got a really good playoff schedule, weeks 22 to 24. Jack Hughes could be an absolute monster if he doesn't eat steak between now and then. There's a lot of
anything that requires a knife.
Yeah, he's in Italy, probably a lot of pasta, generally pretty safe.
Yeah, he's not eating steak, he's eating Tate.
Okay. I did not expect that, Josh. You caught me off guard.
All right. I think our points have been made. Let's dive into it. Oh, wow.
Josh meant lactates because he's, lactose intolerant, of course. Let's move on.
Yeah. I think that's a good call. All right. So let's start with our schedule optimized playoff teams. So we've got them ranked in 4 tiers. So we've got we'll call it S tier. This team has 14 games in the span of these 3 weeks. Again, it's 4 weeks, but 3 fantasy weeks. Then we've got the A tier ones that have 13 games over that span. We've got B, just mid, which is like the 12-game teams. And then we've got the bad teams are the ones with 11 games. So there's only one top tier team weeks 22 to 24, and that is the San Jose Sharks. They have a 3-4-7. So that's 7 games in the finals is absolutely absurd. They also have plenty of off nights. The way we kind of scored these teams is we gave a point for every game they have played, and then we gave like 0.25 for off nights. So in their rankings, then they have the off nights taken into account. But for the most part, at the end of the day, we're looking at games played. San Jose is the one team with 14. Then we've got some A-tier ones. We've got in order of most to least off nights, we've got St. Louis, Colorado, Ottawa, Vancouver, New Jersey, Philly, Florida, Montreal, Tampa, Seattle. I know that's a lot of names for you, but we are going to go into each one in depth and talk about their players. So that'll be an easier way to remember all of them. Then I won't talk about all the middle teams because they're just kind of mid. I'll talk about the bad teams schedule wise. We've got, this is in order from most to least off nights. So the last one I mentioned is going to be the worst one. We've got Buffalo, Toronto, Islanders, Washington, Vegas, Utah, Edmonton, Minnesota. So that's the list of teams and their different schedules. And like I said, we're going to go into deep dive each one. So, I know that was a rapid fire list for you guys, but we'll get into it.
Poor Minnesota and Edmonton, even in week 21 to 23, they were two of the worst teams for playoff schedule. Doesn't get any better in weeks 22 to 24. I feel like they're still just two of the worst teams to have for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so many fantasy stars on those teams. So
many of them on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's tough, but we'll get into those and talk about what to do with them because some guys are just too good to, trade for less value even if they're on a bad schedule team. So, should we dive into our top trade targets for these good playoff schedules for week 22 to 24?
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
we're going to go through a lot of names, guys. Doesn't mean that every person on this list is a must buy for your team, but all of these guys are on great playoff schedules and should be kept in mind for a potential upgrade if you end up having guys that should be traded away after.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not talking about guys who are free agent pickups on these teams. Those are going to be more streamer guys, but this is specifically guys to target in trades. Let's get into it. We'll start with San Jose, which had the best playoff schedule for week 22 to 24. Obviously, you got the best player in the NHL, Macklin Celebrini, way better than Austin Matthews. We've got Will Smith, Fresh Prince, and we've got William Eklund. Really, I think other than those three guys, I mean, like the fourth guy you would list is Toffoli, but I don't think he's worth trading for. I think that's like, a guy you could pick up in free agency, honestly, in a lot of leagues. He's like 40% owned and hasn't been very good.
I like
Klingberg
Sherwood.
is a pickup. Oh, sure. You know what? You're right. That's my bad. I forgot. Actually, I'd put Sherwood ahead of Eklund.
Yeah, I would not put Eklund on this trade for list, to be honest. And I have Eklund, so I'm trying not to be biased here. I know Josh wants to trade for him because he's goated, but
I really don't. I just want a player who will be on my roster.
In most leagues, Eklund is not, I don't want to say not worth rostering, but there's most definitely better options available on your waivers.
Yeah,
but
no, you're right.
Celebrini, I feel like who are you
name.
even able to trade for Celebrini at this point? Does Austin Matthews get it done?
I mean, you'd have to throw in like a Fabian Zetterlund or something, like to the scales. No, but like, okay, that's a good conversation for sure. So, I mean, first of all, we haven't gotten into the details of the bad schedules, but for week 22-24, Toronto is a bad schedule team. So if these are your playoff weeks, I definitely would try and do Matthews for Celebrini if you can. You might have to throw in a small plus. But I mean, Matthews has been playing well, so I think, and he's got that first round pick pedigree, so I think that it's in the realm of possibility. I mean, it really depends on the Celebrini owner. If they think that what Celebrini's been doing is way too good and that he'll slow down, then you can get it done 1-for-1. If not, then you might have to throw in a little piece. But I like that a lot. What names are you like? I feel like at this point it's more of a question of who are you not willing to trade for Celebrini, because I feel like you're willing to trade almost anyone in the league for him, right?
I was going to say, you start at the top. It's McKinnon, McDavid, Draisaitl. I feel like those, even though without the playoff schedule, would you do that? McDavid for Celebrini with week 22 to 24? That's 3 extra games.
I mean, not 1-for-1. Like,
I
would consider doing like Celebrini plus, but it would have to be a good plus.
Come playoff time, who are you going to want to have on your team? Like, you just got to pick one, It's for free on your team.
McDavid.
Yeah, even with the games difference, you would do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have him in our league, and like you said, regardless of week 21, 23, 22, 24, Edmonton has a terrible playoff schedule, right? And I'm willing to like listen to offers because he has that bad playoff schedule. But at the end of the day, like, he can do what any other player can do in 3 extra games. Like McDavid can do that in 3 fewer games. So like you really have to get the value. And like, I love Celebrini. I also have him, and I think he's going to be amazing rest of the season. And he's been top 5 in both even like actual NHL and fantasy for most leagues. But at the end of the day, like, he's still a second-year rookie, right? And there is that risk of, does he slow down a bit? Like, he's not going to be bad.
I think he slows down a bit, to be honest.
But like, that's it, exactly, right? Like, it's I'm not saying he's going to like suddenly become someone you don't like, who's not amazing, right? But like the way he's been playing top 4 in like most leagues, there's a risk there. And the risk is extra high when the guy you're trading away is Connor McDavid, right? So I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't
When
do
we
it for
get
Draisaitl either.
When we get into the bad teams, we could definitely start giving like a more specific outlook for names and stuff as to who we're going to trade for Celebrini. But one thing I want to say on Eklund, he had a decent finish to the year last year. I wouldn't say I would want to trade for him, but in like a plus
The
in
free agent
return,
pickup.
not bad. Yeah, he's 32% owned in Yahoo. You could probably pick him up most places, but with a good playoff schedule coupled with the fact that he is a big player on this team, he always gets decent minutes, and he does produce. I would consider picking him up or getting him in return in a trade. One of those, for a better playoff schedule returns.
In our league of record, like, it's very deep. There's nobody on waivers that are like kind of valuable in any sense that it's not going to be just a stream. Eklund is, if I dropped him, he'd be immediately the best player on waivers in my opinion. And he was, the issue with him is that his deployment was really volatile going into the break, but also his production going into the break was like not bad at all. Like, he had like a point streak, he was getting a lot of assists. This just, he got bumped down to PP2, then he got bumped down to he got bumped back up to PP1, and they ran 5 forwards. So it's just gonna be interesting to see how everything shakes out after the break. But he should be in this top 6. That's like his bread and butter, and power play 1. And I think if San Jose is making a push to make the playoffs, I think he could have a strong end to the season. But it's still risky enough, and the floor is way lower, that I think you'd be giving up probably a better asset to get him. Or he's probably on waivers in most of your leagues. So
Yeah, I think that, like, honestly, with how things have been going in San Jose, like, in terms of like deployment and power plays, I think that no one other than Celebrini and maybe Will Smith is like certain to be power play 1. And I think pretty much just Celebrini. I think the coach is just, and the power play hasn't even be bad. I don't know why he's like constantly like messing around with it and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But I don't think there's anyone who's safe on that power play other than Celebrini. So it is a risk you take on if you want to like acquire any of those other guys.
where do we? Well, we can move on, but how do we rank Will Smith? Like, if Josh, if I told you Will Smith in your head, what's your projections for him? Like points, shots, power play points? Because I feel those are the main things that he's hitting.
Yeah.
How do you visualize him as a player?
I mean, I don't think he's a point per game player that he's been like for a lot of the season. I see him as like, he could be like a 0.85 though. Like, I think that's like totally reasonable. It could be close to 3 shots. And then power play, I think it's just super, it fluctuates a lot, right? I know like as a Celebrini owner, there was like a month where his like monthly average for power play was like 0.1. And then like in the last month, it's like 0.6. So like, and they just, so they're a very volatile power play. And I think that on average, he'll probably be like 0.25, 0.3, something like that. But there'll be highs and there'll be lows.
0.93 points per game, 0.29 power play points, 0.25 shots.
Yeah.
That's on the season.
Yeah.
0.25 shots?
2.5.
Oh, yeah,
2.5 shots.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. So,
I was just
quite the
testing you
shooting
guys.
percentage there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of what I see him as, like a 0.85, 0.25, 2.5 type of thing.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty makes sense to me.
Before we move on, I think we should finish up on Celebrini. Are you trading Kaprizov for Celebrini?
I am.
Especially like we're talking weeks 22, 24, where Minnesota has that terrible schedule. Jake, are you trading Kaprizov for Celebrini?
I think so. And this is kind of like, I don't think San Jose's a lock at all. I think they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot, which is pretty cool, considering, where they were last year. And I think that they're really going to go all out. Of course, they're going to give Celebrini the opportunity to keep leading this team. Kaprizov, I wouldn't be surprised if they just rest him in the second half of week 24.
I thought you said arrest him. I was like, whoa.
No. If they give him rest, let him chill.
Yeah, I will say that like throughout the whole season, like Jakey specifically mentions like these teams fighting for a playoff spot, and it's never more important than if your league goes to week 24 because of the resting. So I think specifically for San Jose, like you mentioned, like, there's no way they're going to be a lock. Like they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot to the very end. I think they're going to get one, but they're going to be fighting for it. So I don't see Celebrini getting rested. So
and
I think
Minnesota's
that's definitely a plus.
Clinch early. Also,
yeah, exactly. They should be top 3 in their division.
But
easy.
Certain teams, that even when they clinch, they still want to fight because they're playing for seeding as well. Like they're playing for their playoff matchups. Like, do you think one of them is going to want to play Edmonton if they can avoid it in the first round?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's definitely not a guaranteed sit for Kaprizov, but I'd say the likelihood of him versus like Celebrini is much higher.
And we'll try to do a good job also at just like mentioning who we think is going to get benched or
rested,
what are the likelihoods.
I think that's definitely important to mention.
Yeah.
So wait, before we move on, I just want to like hit the like names for Celebrini, like other first round guys. Like, where do you draw the line? Like,
Makar?
obviously we said okay. Makar's been pretty like bad lately, honestly.
Yeah, but
Like, he
I
was
don't
at,
read too much into it. To me, it's just like it's still Makar. I expect him to do what he's gonna do.
yeah. Like, Makar's been pretty bad. Like, he's been like 0.85 like points per game over the past month.
Yeah.
But I mean, he also has a really good playoff schedule. It's not as good as San Jose, but it's only like one game off. So
I'm taking
Yeah, I would
Celebrini.
I think I'm
mainly
Celebrini.
try to send from the bad playoff schedule people. I think like a Jack Eichel could be a good one. Wouldn't be surprised if that's impossible to get done. We had him on a Would You Rather, and I think it was pretty close a few weeks ago.
I like
I mean,
that a lot.
I like Jack Eichel more
Yeah.
than Celebrini, just because I think he has the safeness of. I don't think he has the potential to regress
but
as
with that
much as
playoff
Celebrini
schedule
does.
difference.
But with the playoff schedule difference, I think you can get that done.
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes probably too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Celebrini.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These
these
are
are all
bad
good
to
ones.
good playoff schedules. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to St. Louis. So some guys worth
Number
possibly
2.
trading for here. Yeah, exactly. We've got Robert
Thought I'd put that in
Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, Dylan Holloway, Justin Falk. I mean, there's really it's kind of slim pickings over here. Robert Thomas is, I think, a great buy low.
Yeah.
Look, he's not the type of player that we usually like, right? His kind of archetype is we call it the Robert Thomas archetype, right? Like those like Dylan Strome type like player as well, you know, where they like
Named after him.
Yeah, exactly. Where they're like a point per game usually, but like will do absolutely nothing else for you other than face-off wins if your league counts that. And the fact is, when guys that want it like that, having an off year, an off stretch like Thomas has been, then they're really providing nothing for you. So, and he was injured, but like I think all of that makes it so that he's a great buy low. I think you could get him for a really cheap price in most leagues. And look, I don't think we expect him to go back to being like, what was he like last year, like 1.15 points per game, something like that. I think he'll be lucky to be point per game rest of season, but I think it's a possibility. And the fact that you can get a guy who could be a point per game with the playoff schedule like this for how cheap I think you could get Thomas, I think it's an opportunity there.
Yeah. I think Thomas is really the main guy that I'd try to acquire, especially if you're in a points league. I know we're banger management here. We're focusing on the bangers. And Robert Thomas always has that kind of like thing against him, right? Like he's not really good in bangers leagues because he's so one-dimensional in the points. But I think the ceiling is high here, and it's just about like your risk tolerance and what your price is. Like if you have to pay close to what his usual price is, I'm not really interested at all because there's so much risk there. But if you can give somebody that's pretty low, then I'd be way more enticed. Also, he might get traded too. I'm putting it out there. Like he's one of those names that like teams that are looking for a pure C. Like when St. Louis decides what they're doing, he could be a name that's like, all right, let's see what we can do to get him on our roster. I like him more if he get traded. I think.
I just really don't see it happening. Like I feel like it's one of those things.
But
yeah, I mean his name is definitely.
It's not impossible.
Yeah, his name is definitely out there. I think they want a ton in return for him, which is fair because he's there. Like he hasn't, even though he hasn't been playing it like it this year, he is like a 1C, and he's like a good 1C in the league. And I just don't think anyone's going to match the price that they want. I mean, Minnesota just emptied the cupboards for Quinn Hughes. Do they have more prospects and picks in the cupboard?
They give Wallstead. They take back Binnington, who becomes sick after the Olympic break. Man plays one game, gets a shutout. And then, maybe you throw in Robert Thomas and see what happens.
Look, it's a possibility. His name is definitely out there. I don't see it happening. I think if anyone's likely to get traded off this team, it's Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah.
But Thomas's name is definitely out there. So that is something to keep in mind. It's funny because like I do agree that he should get better if he gets traded to another team, but then it also kind of defeats the purpose of the playoff schedule, right? So it's something to definitely keep in mind. Let's just throw in one or two names for Thomas. Would you do? I'm
Dylan
looking at I mean,
in the same tree of player.
Yeah, I would do that for the playoff schedule boost because I feel like they're like similar. Like
I think you could do like Nick Schmaltz for him.
Yeah, I would do that.
I low key feel like you may be able to get Thomas Plus for that one. Schmaltz has been sick.
But Strome has also been sick. Honestly, I don't know if I'd do that just because I know the playoff schedule is better, but like I'm way more confident in Washington and being able to deliver results than what.
That's fair. But I mean, like,
and also with these, I also want to keep in mind, like with these guys that are very points one dimensional. I think the playoff the extra games doesn't add as much of a punch because you're not missing out on like a lot of the extra like banger categories, right? Like
yeah.
I'm getting zeros anyway. So if you have
True.
3 games or 4 games, like still going to be 0 type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you obviously want more exposure to potential points, but the bird in the hand is worth more, I think, in that case.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like Strome specifically, like a few weeks ago, people were considering dropping him, right? Like he's gone on. I mean, we recommended him as a buy low at that time. People were
Yeah,
like,
then he
"What
went
are
on
you
a run.
talking about?" And then now he's been like really good, and I think he is really good. But like, it just I don't see him at. And I do think that if their schedules are the exact same, I would take Strome over Thomas. So I agree on that. But I don't know if the difference is big enough that I'm not willing to take the playoff schedule boost. If that makes sense.
But also, I could totally see Robert Thomas getting shut down because the Blues are not in a playoff spot and he's been
Yeah.
banged up the whole year. Whereas Washington was trying to buy Panarin. Like
Yeah.
they're not trying to just get cooked and be like, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
Like they got Ovi on their team. They're gonna try until the very last second. As if there's a 0.1% chance of them making the playoffs, they're gonna be trying for it. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Definitely, that's another thing to consider. We've been hearing kind of like rumors a bit or talks from like around the Olympics and people saying that like some of these Olympics players are playing through injury and they're gonna get shut down after the Olympics for the season if they're on teams that are like nowhere near the playoffs. So obviously, like
Wow.
I think it was Elliot Friedman said that, and then everyone just starts speculating like, who are we talking about here? You know, trying to like think of like
the
who
Hughes
are the
brothers, the
yeah,
Kachuk
exactly. Like,
brothers.
who's the injured guy on a team on the Olympics who's on a team that's not in a playoff spot, and so a lot of speculation going on. So that's another. So that kind of like. So you were talking about like, you know, we always want in these weeks specifically, you want teams that are fighting for the playoffs, and it goes both ways, right? You don't want a team that's too good because they might rest their players. You don't want a team that's too bad because then they might just like shut down their players for the season if they're even like slightly banged up. So just another thing to keep in mind. So like final answer on Thomas, like who's a guy that you'd be like really happy to trade him for? Like is Nick Schmaltz someone you'd want to trade for him, or you feel like he's too much more valuable than Thomas? What about like
I would
Strome?
need to have some sort of like he's healthy after the Olympic break and there's no issues, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'd want to trade for him during the Olympic break. That's the thing.
I would, but you need it. But I would be like for a lower price.
That's
you know?
it. That's it. Like, can you trade? Would you trade Nuge? I think I would trade
Yeah, I
Nugent
would.
Hopkins.
Yeah,
and
that's a great one.
low-key feel like that could even happen now, whereas if he's healthy, I feel like it's definitely harder. That's one of those like right in the middles.
Yeah. What about
Eriksson
like?
Ek?
I think Eriksson Ek's too much better than Thomas.
Really?
Yeah. I just think Minnesota, that power play, like obviously there's the risk of them trading for someone and him getting bumped off, but right now like they're firing on all cylinders, and he's also a banger's beast, like right, like he shoots, he hits.
It's
That's
hard
the type
for me
of guy
to
that you trade,
say-
you turn into a Thomas, and it's just a big L, I think.
It's hard for me to conceptualize who I'd want to give up for Thomas because I'm just lower on Thomas than most, and I don't really like that archetype of player anyways. Like I never draft him, I never have
Yeah.
those guys on my team because
Well, that's it. I don't want to be paying like a high price for him. I like him as an ultra buy low. So like I think that's why it's important to
Yeah.
throw out some names. Like I liked the Nugent Hopkins one. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
What about like
Matthias Samuelsson?
yeah,
I don't know.
I would do that for
No,
Thomas.
you
with
probably have
weeks
to do
22 to
that.
24 for sure.
Honestly,
What about John
I think it's
Tavares?
impossible.
He's been really bad,
Tavares.
and he's got a bad
Hmm.
schedule.
Yeah, but
Like,
Tavares
obviously,
can get
it's-
you like more shots alone than Thomas will, even with the bad playoff schedule. And
Yeah.
it's, you know what I mean. So I
Same thing
that's
as Eriksson
also-
Ek, same vibe. Yeah,
exactly. Except Eriksson Ek's on a better team. Like I prefer
Yeah.
Eriksson Ek.
for sure.
Also, I wasn't like I was kind of kidding with Matthias Samuelsson, and now I'm not. I feel like would you
He's
you
nuts.
do that, Kevin?
I would do that.
I just don't want one of my pure C slots to be Robert Thomas. So is
yeah.
Thomas worth more than Samuelsson? Yes. Do I want to use Samuelsson to buy him? Probably not. I also just like D is my
0.92 points
weakest
per game.
position, and Samuelsson's
fuck.
goated. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
He's been
concept,
so
if I had to
good.
start my team doing a redraft, I'm obviously drafting Robert Thomas more. But for
Yeah.
my team specifically in League of Record with how I'm built right now, I just don't.
Yeah, but in
Don't need to make a
general,
move like
in
that.
general, to people out there who
Yeah.
don't have your specific team structure, I would absolutely trade Samuelsson for Thomas. If
Yes,
again.
absolutely. Like Samuelson's
Um,
been on fire for points. Like that's not gonna stay, guys. Like
Yeah,
people are
exactly.
asking me like, "Oh my God, is he like the next Darlene or whatever?" I'm like nothing has changed in his deployment. Like he plays a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
He's like a really good
Also, I don't know if
defenseman,
you've like
but
I've been watching some Buffalo games. I don't like no disrespect, but every single one of his goals is the flukiest thing I've ever seen.
No,
Like,
he's actually sick though.
Like he's shooting them
Did you
like
see
from like
that
the goal. That's it. Like he's shooting them from like the goal line, and like they're going like under the armpit, or he's shooting them like from like the blue line, but like
That's
on a
talent.
rush. Like there's two defenders in front of him. He takes a random wrist shot, and it
confident.
goes like under like the glove or something. Like it's like no, I mean obviously these are good shots,
He's
you know, but these are
scoring.
like like this just is not sustainable. But
But
yeah,
yes,
okay, let's
no,
move
not
on.
sustainable.
Let's move on from Thomas. Yeah, we talked about Kyrou as a possible trade guy. I think he's just kind of hated by the coach for some reason and by the organization. I don't know when this turnaround felt. I feel like it came out of nowhere a bit, like last summer when we started hearing the Kyrou trade rumors, and then it kind of got compounded over like how bad of a season he's had, whatever. But he did turn it on a bit before the Olympics, and I still think he's a really good player. Like if he's given the opportunity, I think that he's a good player. He can get you nearly point per game with 3 shots on goal with the right deployment. So if he gets traded, I'm very interested. Although obviously that negates the playoff schedule. If he doesn't get traded, I'd still like him as a buy. The only issue is that he was a bit hot before the Olympics, and again, same with Thomas. I don't want to be paying for any of these St. Louis assets. I don't want to be paying anywhere near full value. Like if you have to pay full value for them, move on to another team and find a team that's less risky. You know, like if you're taking on the risk, you should be allowed to pay less.
Fabian Zetterlund or Dylan Holloway?
All right, Dylan Holloway. Let's talk about that. Right, so he should be back after the break, but there's been kind of no news about it. He came back for 1 game and then either re-aggravated or just wasn't ready yet and kind of got shut down for the Olympic break. But now he's got a few more weeks of recovery under him. I'm hoping and I kind of expect him to be back after the Olympic break, but this could be one of those cases, right, where they just shut him down because they're like, we have nothing to play for. So this is another one. Like I feel like my kind of like takeaway with all these Blues guys is I think all of them have decent upside, but I'm not willing to pay for that upside. You pay because you pay a dirt cheap price to get them, and then if you get the upside, it's a huge win, and if not, you're fine. And if someone's like, I'm not willing to trade them unless you give me more, then just be like, all right, then keep them.
That's exactly how I feel about them. That's really well put.
Yeah, okay.
There's upside, it's there, but I'm just not willing to pay for the price for it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Kevin's like
holding
that
back.
guy from Couples Retreat. Encourage, man. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Great movie.
Okay, let's move on to a more exciting team. No offense to the St. Louis Blues, but a little offense. So next we've got Colorado. We got some familiar faces here. We got Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Marty Necas, Brock Nelson. Didn't include any of the other non-power play 1 guaranteed guys because I think they're just always shuffling those lines, and there's no one that I wouldn't want to trade for any of them with the expectation of power play 1 because I don't think any of them holds it rest of the season consistently. I think they'll all have shots at it. So I'm talking about Lehkonen, Landeskog, Nichushkin, even Olofsson get some chances there. Like I think these 4 guys I mentioned first like are pretty locked in at this point, but that 5th spot I think is just a merry-go-round of whoever Bednar feels like giving it to at any given time. The best buy low here is by far Cale Makar. I think he's like, other than McKinnon, he's like the best guy on this team. He's a top 8 pick every year, and he's been so underwhelming, especially with how many defensemen have been over a point per game in the past month, and he's not one of them. I think there's a lot of guys you can trade away to get Makar right now. The only tough thing is the name. I was gonna say the only tough thing is the name value, but
it's still Cale Makar at the end of the day.
Yeah,
if he produces slightly less, people are not going to be like, all right, we're jumping ship, you know?
No, but I mean, there's guys who've been playing so well. Like you're talking about like Evan Bouchard, right? I think you can get that done for sure.
Yep. To me, it's Bouchard, Quinn Hughes, probably Werenski in weeks 22 to 24.
Yeah.
Dahlin, like those are the 4 names, and maybe Darren Radish. Just because, like, even though he still has a good schedule, I'd still rather Cale Makar.
Yeah, of course.
Like those guys, I feel like if you can concoct a deal where it's like a 1-for-1 or like you're giving a small plus and you get Cale Makar, like these are deals that I'm absolutely trying to do for not only the playoff schedule, but also just getting a better player.
Yeah, this is a mix of like improving playoff schedule and also just a great buy low.
Yeah. I want to focus more on Necas and Nelson because I feel like Makar and McKinnon, like, they're just so good that it's going to be hard to get them anyways. Like, for McKinnon, if you have McDavid, Draisaitl, like, these are the type of guys that I'm trying to flip for McKinnon because I don't know who else gets it done, to be honest. And, like, these have the lesser schedules. We said in the beginning of the season, if you're listening to Banker Management in the offseason, we told everybody with the 101 in your drafts, take Nathan McKinnon because come playoff time, you're going to want the extra game that's compared to Connor McDavid. Even if they're so close in value or one slightly better, one extra game of one of those guys is so influential over the other. So,
absolutely, yeah. So I think that's a good point. Let's focus on the other 2 guys. So who are you sending for? Let's start with Marty Necas. Like, who are we sending for Necas? He was pretty.
I'm trying to send Panarin. And this is
Panarin for Necas, I like that.
post-trade. He's at LA, post-Kevin Fiala, broken leg injury, out for the season type of thing. Honestly, I don't know if that makes Panarin worse because he's playing with less good players now too. But I just think the ambiguity of the situation, we haven't seen it in game yet. I know what I'm going to get from Necas. I know who he's playing with and what the playoff schedule is. I would do that.
Yeah, I like Panarin as one. Would you send in these weeks? Would you send Tage Thompson,
I don't think so.
even with the
I think
difference in playoff schedule?
Yeah, Tage is so good.
He's so
Like,
good.
And kind
I
of
would
on the
do
same
that.
token, I was debating Nylander because I feel like
I would do
Nylander and
Nylander for
Tage
sure.
are in the same conversation. I know Kevin hates Nylander.
I think Tage is better than Nylander.
That's what I'm saying. I think Tage is better, so I probably would do Nylander, but wouldn't do Tage. That's
I'd
like
do
my
both.
line.
I think
both, really?
the points upside for the extra games is too high, and
I
like
think I
you're
would
getting
do
a
it
lot
as
more
well.
extra. You're getting a lot more points from a lot more shots from Tage. But I still think that like Nature's has it in his bag to be like elite too. The only worry is like, are they going to be rested? Because Colorado, like we know, is like arguably the best team in the league, right? So
That's a good point. All these Colorado
Yeah.
guys might get rested
but
in week
I don't know
24.
why. I just feel like Colorado, like they don't rest their guys. Is that crazy? Like I feel like maybe Makar gets rested. Maybe like the Devon Taves get rested. Maybe like
You
the
know
Brock
what?
Nelsons get
It's
rested.
not
but-
rested as in they'll keep them out of the game, but they may just give them less ice time. Like,
I mean, I'm still happy as long as he plays the game. To me,
Yeah.
I'm worried about like being held
Yeah.
out because he has a nagging injury or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
but I'm less happy with 13 minutes of Natchez as opposed to 18 of Tage.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But
Even
yeah,
with
no,
the
I wouldn't-
discrepancy.
I wouldn't worry about that, honestly. I don't
No.
see like teams don't really do that. If the guy's playing, they're going to play him
Yeah.
his ice time. It's really just either they keep him out or they play him. And I kind of agree. I feel like Makar and McKinnon are the two biggest sit candidates, and I think Devon Taves is a good shout also. Not that it's fantasy relevant for the
No.
most part, but it is the type of player where like he's an important player to the team, and he's been dealing with injury issues all year. So why not just rest him before the playoffs? So I think Natchez and Nelson are probably safe from the resting, but if Colorado's a bit on a skid right before the Olympic break, so it kind of brought them a bit closer to the second and third, Dallas and Minnesota in their division. If they're close to them, they're going to keep. There's less chance of resting, right? Because they want
Yeah.
that first in the division. They want
Yeah.
first in the NHL, right? So, but if they just turn it back on after the Olympics and they just get so far away where there's really nothing to play for, I think the chance of resting is much higher. But ignoring that, I agree with the. I think Thompson and Nylander for Natchez. I like those, and I think that's an example of what we mentioned earlier of giving up slightly more value for a better playoff schedule. I mean, look, you can make an argument that Natchez is better than either of those guys. I think those guys are probably a bit better, but like I think it's negligible enough that with the playoff difference, it's worth it.
Someone
Yeah.
in the Discord, I just recommended they trade. Like this trade was on the table for them because they were they were doing some playoff optimization for weeks 21 to 23, and it applies here too. They traded Eric Sinek for Brock Nelson.
Okay, that's an interesting one because we've been
I
talking
said-
about Brock Nelson as a sell
Yeah.
high for a while,
I know.
but honestly, I like it.
I like
with
it
the
too for the
playoff
playoff
schedule.
schedule.
Yeah. So I think that's a fantastic target for
Mhm.
Nelson because at this point, like it seems like he's locked his spot on power play 1, and that's kind of huge. That was one of the big reasons that we were recommending him as a sell high. I mean, also the main reason we were recommending him as a sell high at the time was because he was getting like 1.5 points per game. So like it wasn't necessarily the whole whether he stays on power play 1 or not. It was just he was playing out of his mind. But point per game is not out of the question for him, and we never said that. We just said 1.5 is not happening. So definitely I would take Nelson over Eric Sinek with that playoff schedule. And Eric Sinek has his own questions, but we're not really talking about him right now. Who else would we send for Brock Nelson? John Tavares I would send for sure, but I don't
Yeah.
know. if
Yeah, that won't
I
get
don't
it
think
done,
that
I
gets
don't
done.
think.
Yeah.
Nuge,
Maybe
if you can,
Ca-
I don't know if that gets done, but I would do
Zach
Nuge.
Hyman?
Nuge, I don't think so.
Hyman is tight.
Hyman's
for me.
also, I don't think so. Marner,
You don't think he would do it, or you
Marner
don't think
maybe
he
an
would get done?
I think
I
for
don't
sure
thi-
Hyman gets done.
I think Hyman
I'm
gets
just-
done.
I'm
You
just
think
debating
Hyman
if I
gets
want to
done
do
for
it
Natchez?
No, we're talking
No,
Nelson.
for Brock Nelson.
Oh,
Yeah.
for Nelson, yeah, that could get done.
Would
I
you be willing to do
think-
that though, or is that too big of a decrease?
No, I think that's fair. That's worth it. Unless like Hyman decides that he wants to hit again. Whenever he comes back from a thing or a new thing begins, it seemingly like
11 hits.
post Olympic break, he may just start hitting like crazy. And if that happens, then I'd be sad about it. But more or less, the process should be to trade that. Yeah, sure. I would give Hyman for Nelson.
Something's telling me to keep Hyman there, but my mind says I should go for Nelson.
Yeah, I think I would be willing to do it. I think again, I'd rather Hyman than Nelson, but it's the playoff schedule that sways it. This is another one of those like giving up slightly more value.
Yeah.
One or two more names for Nelson.
Dylan
Um, uh,
Strome.
yeah, I would definitely take Nelson over Strome.
Yeah.
Too much
Barzal.
hurdle. Yeah, I like Barzal's one a lot because I think Barzal's a huge sell high.
Yeah,
He's
he
been at
was
like
on fire.
1.2 points per game over the past month, and that's just
Yeah.
not going to last, especially on this Islanders team. So yeah, I think those are all great names for Nelson. Should we move
Cool.
to the next team?
Yeah,
Let's
I feel like we
do
should
it.
go through these names maybe like not a little faster, and then when we do the trade away targets, we can really pair
We
them
can
up. And
pair them up. Okay, yeah. So next we've got Ottawa. We've got Kachuk, Tim Stutzel, Jake Sanderson, Drake Batherson, Dylan Cousins. I realized the only guy that I didn't say his first name is the only one who has a brother in the NHL, so it was Brady Kachuk.
not Matthew, not
Tkachuk of
Matthew.
the Ottawa.
Yeah, so pretty much it's their entire power play one unit. I think Batherson we had highlighted as a buy low going into the Olympic break. All the other guys are kind of firing on all cylinders, so I don't think any of them are buy lows, but I'd still buy them for even price, but a worse playoff schedule.
I don't know if I'm just super biased, but I think Ottawa is going to be one of the most like the best teams to have players on going into the end of the season, in my opinion. Because I think they're a top 5 power play. I think this team is like going to do everything they can to make the playoffs, and I think they're a high scoring offense that plays in a lot of high scoring games because their goaltending is not good. So I think you're just a lot of points on the board available, and I do think that like there's a realistic chance that they can make the playoffs because their scoring is not the problem. It's keeping pucks out of the net. So if that happens and they're in more games that they're winning, that means also more chances for scoring because more empty net chances and everything. So I really like Ottawa. And I don't know if it's just I'm biased because I have a big Ottawa stack and it's come through a lot for me. But I genuinely believe that like all of these players are going to be super fantasy relevant the rest of the season. And a lot of them have been performing well. So it's hard to acquire them for, like you're paying full price pretty much. And so may not be the best deals, but I think Drake Batherson is a fantastic buy low right now. So
Yeah. I mean, I think two things can be true. I think you're biased because they're on your team, but I think you're also correct.
so I'm not biased.
I think, especially for weeks 22 to 24, the episode, we're talking about these teams now. Any team in the Atlantic with a good playoff schedule is a tremendous buy.
Yeah, other than Tampa.
Even Tampa, but it's just tough to acquire most of those guys because they've been so good. But
Yeah.
the other three, especially that we're going to mention, I'll save it for the one that I think is the best. I could say, Kevin, do you think that Ottawa's the best like of the Atlantic teams to buy players on?
Who would you say is better?
Can I
know who you
give
would
a
say.
spoiler?
He thinks Florida. Yeah.
Oh man,
I think.
Do I know you or what?
Yeah.
I think Ottawa is. I don't want to say better, but I think Ottawa has.
I don't think it has to be quantified. I think they're both going to be great.
They're
both.
I think they're both going to be great.
They're both in the exact
This
same
is where my
position,
bias
also,
comes
right?
in.
Like they're both high flying offenses. They both should be doing better than they have been doing. Although maybe that leans a bit more towards Florida. They're both going to be fighting tooth and nail for a playoff spot, right? In a wide open division or wide open conference at least, because everyone's just so close and doing so well. So I think they're in the exact same position, and they both have phenomenal like top power play unit, like top 5 players. So I think we're splitting feathers on choosing which one you'd rather. I think I would take any of the 10 players we're going to list on either Ottawa or Florida.
Yeah,
I love splitting feathers. But I think in my mind, the difference maker is like the health aspect of it. Because Florida, just all their guys always seem hurt. Like, Kachuk just came back from an injury. If something is not going well and they're losing runway, I could see them being like, all right, well, let's just put you on breaks a little bit.
I just don't know if they can
Jones
do that.
is still hurt. Marchand is like always hurt.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think they can do that exactly. Like, I think
they're
really
back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. They can't, and if they're close, even if they can even sniff a playoff spot, like they know their team is built for playoffs. They know they could come in as the 8th seed.
26-1 before now.
Just to give you
26-1.
Just to quantify how close the Atlantic Division is, Florida's in last place with 61 points. They would be top 4 in either Western Conference division. Like
that's so crazy.
That's nuts.
It's crazy, but it's also the reality, right? Like you're still bottom 4 or bottom
But
of the division.
it's the fact that it's separated only by 17 points, the top and the bottom of the division.
And take out
so
Tampa,
it's so
and it's
close.
a lot closer.
Exactly. Like that's 11 points between the Canadians and the Panthers. Like it's pretty sick that we're in second. But anyways, all this to say, it's really close. So Florida and Ottawa, definitely love those. I guess Batherson's a really good buy. Just going back to Ottawa.
Yeah.
Other than that, I it's a high scoring team, and that's why I like what Kevin said about like
high scoring, high power play.
Yeah, as long as they keep the puck out of the net, they should go on a crazy tear. You know, they just need Andrew Hammond back or something.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you're buying any of these assets, I couldn't care less if they keep the puck out of the net because they're scoring regardless of if they let in 6 goals or 0 goals. So, I'm happy either way. I don't think they're making the playoffs personally. Maybe that's I think they're going to be fighting for it. I don't think they're going to make it. I think there's better teams.
There's too many teams that are still good. Like the Islanders would have to fall off completely to miss the playoffs. And I don't think it's out of the question.
Yeah.
Boston, I feel like, is a team that everybody's saying like they're not going to make the playoffs, even though they've been in a playoff position the whole team. Like they're still going to be fighting for it too, right?
Yeah.
So like the Columbus, the Ottawa, the Florida, the New Jersey, like the Toronto, like all these teams
are all
desperately want to make the playoffs.
Yeah. And they all can.
Utah. Sorry, that's West. I like the at the beginning.
But there's not many spots left. Like I think we're all saying Tampa, Montreal, Detroit are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think those are
Buffalo's making it.
I'm not ready to crown Buffalo. I think
by
Carolina's
no means
making
is that a guarantee, and that's like cool because they're a bad playoff team, 22-24, and then Ottawa's a good one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one of those like they're both going to be fighting, but Ottawa's got the volume. So
no, but I mean, in terms of like real NHL, like they're not a lock, but I think if I had to like say my playoffs right now, I'm saying it's going to be from our division: Tampa, Montreal, Detroit, then Sabres in a wild card, and then I'm putting Columbus in a wild card, and then it's going to be from the other division: Canes and Pittsburgh, and then it's either going to be Islanders or Washington. I think more likely Washington probably.
Do one of you guys want to beer bet me that Buffalo does not make the playoffs?
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I see you guys crowning them so early. I'm just like, I want it to happen. Like I'm rooting for it. But just something about it when I see the names in the standings, I'm looking at
you see Mattias Samuelsson and you're this team's not making the playoffs.
No, I see him and I'm like, this team is making the playoffs. And then I see Josh Norris on IR and I'm just like, this team is not making the playoffs.
You see Josh Norris on IR and they've been like 20 and like 1 without him, and they still have him coming back. You know, if anything, that should make you more confident.
I'm just like,
no, I mean, the something about it is that they haven't made the playoffs in 15 years.
Yeah. So, and like Florida's behind them, Ottawa's behind them, and I think they're better set up for this year. So I'm just like,
no. I mean, I'm nowhere near saying Buffalo's a lock. I'm just saying I think they're going to finish in it, but I think it's gonna be super close. I'll take that beer bet though. I feel like we haven't made enough in it lately, so gotta start making those again.
Nice. You gotta drink.
So you can lock that in.
Moving on to the next
all right,
team.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next one, we've got the Vancouver Canucks. Literally, who is worth trading for? Like, I put Elias Pettersson, but like,
I don't want to
Vancouver Canuck.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're trading for Pettersson, you have to be trading for him like expecting him to be like 0.7, 0.8 points per game. Like, he's not going to be a point per game guy. The thing I like about Pettersson in terms of our league specifically is he's a winger who wins faceoffs and he get hits and blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not a lot, but like he's actually, I think him and Matthews are like the 2 best blockers from forwards, which is very valuable in leagues that count that. So he definitely has a spot on rosters, but if the person trading him you're trying to get him from is like, oh, I'm only trading him if you assume he's prime Elias Pettersson, which is not a person that exists anymore. But, then you're like, okay, no, I'm not interested. But for the right price, and I guess our job is telling people what is the right price for Elias Pettersson, what would you pay?
Most people don't play in the leagues that have face-off wins, so I think he's even, quote-unquote, less valuable than how we're perceiving him, because in our league, too, like the left wing face-off wins is huge, and he's one of the prime players for that fantasy edge. I mean, my mind goes straight to like if you can get Nuge, like
Alex
honestly,
Tuck.
I would do Alex Tuck.
I like that one.
I would do Nuge.
I don't think
I would do like even.
Okay, well that's that.
Do I want?
I do
Tavares?
Nuge and Zuccarello, and that's it.
Yeah, but Zuccarello, I don't think gets it done.
Mattias Samuelsson.
Nick Schmaltz.
Now we're
I don't think I would do Nick Schmaltz. I just think that this team is a train wreck, and the only interest I have in the Canucks, especially first of all, it's only really in weeks 22 to 24 where they have a good playoff schedule, and it's picking up the guys like off waivers that can kind of go on a tear if you're in a really deep league. That's the only interest I have. Liam Ogren could be good if you're again really deep, like
Jake
14
DeBrusk,
to 16
Connor
teams.
Garland. development.
Yeah, maybe like a Jonathan
Besser, he's not out for the
Lekkerimäki.
season.
Yeah, Archie
Yeah, like,
Baines.
It's one of those. Yeah. Honestly,
Whenever you
it's
can
one of
mention
those.
Archdeep, you mention him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's how I would approach it. I wouldn't trade for any of their players, but I would pick them up on waivers.
Okay, but we have to give like one or two names for Pedersen. I know we threw some out. We didn't agree.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. If you have him, make the swap.
We're
Anybody else, I
that.
do not want to do that trade.
I'm cool with that, and probably Zuccarello.
Yeah, Zuccarello, but I don't
100%.
think Zuccarello gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, in
Probably,
some
yeah,
leagues,
I
you'd
guess
be
so.
surprised, honestly. I mean, like, Zuccarello's last month numbers are ridiculous.
I know,
It's like
but he
point
still
per
has
game with like
waiver wire
0.5
stink
power
to
play
him.
points. 100%, but it's also like Elias Pettersson. I don't think anyone's happy with him.
No.
But yeah, so essentially, I would take him on my teams,
John
especially
Carlson,
in
if
face-off
you
win
do
leagues.
defense for forward, and that's something that
Yeah.
people are interested in. Like, I
Not
would do
bad.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one
But
too.
specifically, like, you need like face-off wins and blocks
Yeah.
for him to be like, that's where he really shines, you know? So if you don't have either of those, then I'm no interest in trading for him.
Yeah, let's go to the next team.
All right, next we've got New Jersey. So we have Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Dougie Hamilton, Jesper Bratt. I didn't include Timo Meier because I just don't want to trade for him, even in bangers, like just with the no power play one, and he's been pretty bad. Do you guys have any worry that Jack Hughes is gonna just go straight back to IR after the Olympics?
I'm not worried about that. I still think New Jersey is going to try to make the playoffs. Do I think they
Okay.
succeed? No, but I think they're going to try. And it's just this team they started the season so hot. It felt like they were going to be a contender, and then everything
They
just
should have been.
I mean, they got a lot of injuries that they had to deal with, and then it was just like constantly. Then Timo left, and I feel like it's just been a constant rotation of like bad things happening to them, and the on ice performance is not getting better. But I think we'll see the best New Jersey team of the season post Olympic break. Is it too late? I think so. Does that mean they won't be fantasy relevant? No. Maybe I'm just biased. I'm holding out hope for Jesper Bratt to be like close to
best
what
player in the
we
NHL.
know by Jesper Bratt standards. But
GPI, TBP, IT, NHL.
We haven't heard that one in a while.
he doesn't deserve it. Honestly,
Things haven't
he
been
doesn't
going
deserve
well.
it. I'm not part of the Brad pack right now.
Trade him to me then.
But I think just to give a quick layout, I think Hischier is probably the most consistent asset of the bunch right now. I really like what I'm seeing from Dougie. I may be higher on him than both of you guys, to be honest. I'm putting him close to what I expected coming into this season, which is great news for Josh because he held this whole time. But I really believe, that
no
he can
points
be really
in like
solid
20
for fantasy.
games.
I know. I mean,
And
that
I'm
was
like, nah, I
just
feel it.
inconceivable, but
Yeah.
But Jack Hughes, I really want to trade for Jack Hughes. I've been trying. I've been sending Panarin Plus for Jack Hughes, and it's been getting rejected in our league. Does that get on your league? I think so.
Yeah. I've sent a lot of Jack Hughes offers.
I can't wait to tell my girlfriend that you just said inconceivable, which is a total reference to Princess Bride.
Yeah, I went to see it yesterday.
What?
Yeah, there was a concert happening in Montreal where there was like a live orchestra playing the score for the Princess Bride.
Oh, I
at the
love
theater.
those. I went to see a Lord of the Rings one of those a few years ago.
It's so sick.
was
But
so
the
sick.
Princess Bride one was insane. The people were like cheering.
Yeah.
All the big moments. And my girlfriend had never seen it before.
No
So
way.
it was like her first experience, and she didn't have like the lore behind the movie, like know that it's kind of like a cult classic a little bit.
Yeah.
So when people were cheering, she was like, "Why are people cheering?" or whatever. And then you see like the things happen. Marriage is what brings us together. She was like, "That's where that's from." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, no, that's great.
And I love in the post credit scene when they're doing like the names of the actors or whatever, they put the guy's face and they go, "The impressive clergyman." Like that's how they wrote his name in the credits.
That is impressive. All right, what are some names for Jack Hughes?
Well, should we do that or should we do those in the tradeaways? What do you think?
Well, let's just do Hughes specifically, and then we'll.
Okay, fine.
I mean, are you guys still comfortable doing Panarin?
I think so.
I would rather a healthy Hughes over Panarin with the playoff schedule. Am I certain of the health? No, but you know what? I'm a high risk, high reward guy, so I would probably do that. But I would honestly I think you should ask for Hughes Plus if you have Panarin.
Well, I'm doing the opposite, and it's not working.
I know.
So.
Well, our league is just you can't judge actual trade values in our league because no one will trade unless it's a clear win for them, other than us, you know. But
I mean, the trade that I pulled off earlier this season in the other league with the other fantasy analysts. I traded Batherson plus Hyman for Jack Hughes. Would you be comfortable doing that right now?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I still think that's a fantastic trade.
That's very good. Would you trade Mark Stone for Jack Hughes? I feel like with the playoff
Yes.
schedule, maybe. In a
Yeah, I
heartbeat.
would. I mean, actually, I think this is one of those cases where, like, you know, if Hughes had the better, I mean, if Stone had the better playoff schedule, or if even it was the same, I'd probably just keep Stone at this point. Like, at
I
this
was
point,
gonna
like,
drop an F-bomb, but I really love Mark Stone.
it's crazy. It's
He's
crazy
so
what he's
good.
doing. It's nuts.
As long
So
as he doesn't
yeah.
play against me.
So I mean, that's definitely a risky one because that's like I mean, any of these are going to be risky with the you only make this trade if you think Hughes can stay healthy the rest of the season.
One squishy guy for another.
Yeah,
Who's
that's true.
The battle of the squishy.
Yeah,
Hughes,
again with a guy like Stone
yeah.
or with Panarin, I have to get Hughes plus in return because I think it's too big of a dip in like what they've been doing all season to justify doing it.
In a recent post-game interview, Hughes said something like, if people think that New Jersey's out of it, they don't know what they're talking about or something like that. I was like, oof, okay, he's got a fire under
Hughes
his
said
behind. Yeah, Hughes
The
said
last
that.
interview that I saw would be like, what do you have to say to the fans? He's like, I got nothing to say. He's like,
There was something like
better on the
that.
ice or whatever.
It was something like that. Like he was anyway. They're gonna try, and I think that they could all have like a bounce back from what's been happening. I'm with Kevin on both of you on this one that I think that they're gonna rebound, but they're going till the very end. And I also wouldn't be surprised if the Metropolitan's not as close as the Atlantic, but still pretty close.
If New Jersey finishes the season hot, like we've seen them be able to go on runs before where they're out of 15 games, they're winning like 12 of them, 13 of them. Like we've seen that out of this team before. It's in the range of outcomes. If that happens, I think nobody will be more vindicated than this podcast right here. Because I think we've been talking about buying Jack Hughes and buying Jesper Bratt for like the whole season, it feels like.
Yeah.
So if that
I've
happens,
been holding
we'll
Dougie
be
Hamilton
happy.
all season, but that's
there
mostly
you
just
go.
being insane. All right, let's go to the next one. Next, we've got Philly. Not the most assets here that are that interesting, but Travis Konechny on fire before the break. Trevor Zegras, actually a great buy low, and I tossed in Owen Tippett for bangers because he's always solid for shots and hits, and he can contribute otherwise. I don't think there's anyone else I'm trading for on this team. I think the most attainable one, it's Tippett, but like I think the best buy low is Zegras. He really slowed down before the break, and I think he's got the upside of what he was doing earlier in the season.
We didn't talk about Bratt at all, and to be fair, we talked about him so much. But like Zegras or Bratt rest of season?
I take Bratt over Zegras.
Okay,
Same.
But just happy a little bit.
But I'd take
to throw that in
Konechny
there.
over Bratt.
Who?
Yeah. Konechny.
Yeah, I think you have to with like you just when healthy, they're both kind of similar, and one's just better always right now. So
yeah. Who would you send? What's the name for like Zegras you would send? Would you send Alex Tuck for Zegras?
I think I'd rather no. I think I'd rather use Alex Tuck in a different trade if that makes sense. Like a trade to acquire a better player.
Yeah,
because I think
agree.
if you said that, it probably gets instant accepted, and I don't know if the dividends are going to be worth it. So
John Carlson for Zegras cross position. I think that's a no brainer.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's
Zegras?
the points production you expect from Zegras rest of the season? Is it like a 0.8? Is it more?
Somewhere between 0.8 and 0.9. I think that's where I would place him.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that
I mean,
ambitious at all, or you think that's very conceivable?
is what, point per game or 0.9?
No, 0.8, 0.9.
I think that 0.8 is super reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I think 0.9 is definitely the high end of it. I mean, it's honestly closer to like 0.8, 0.85. I think that's probably more reasonable. It's just it's Philly. They're not a good offense.
Yeah, I'm in the 0.8 range because I think his floor is closer to 0.7, and like so I like a wider range of outcomes for him. Like he's gone on some pretty cold stretches at points, and then has gone back. But I guess on the whole, it's been nice. So I'm kind of in like the 0.8 range as well, which is not bad. You could do worse.
Elias Pettersson or Trevor Zegras?
So like I wouldn't do that trade just because it's not like a bad for a good playoff schedule, but I'm also taking Zegras as like a
but you also
rather.
just want a better player, right? So
yeah. And I think that could actually get done. Yeah, that could work if you have Pettersson.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. We had talked about a bunch. We've got Florida. So you got Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett, Seth Jones, Brad Marchand. You could toss in Anton Lundell on there as well, even though he's probably not power play one when the team's fully healthy. I mean, is the team going to be fully healthy? Like, I'm kind of sketched out by Marchand being scratched from the most recent Olympic game.
Yeah, same.
I don't know what you guys think, but he also didn't play a few games going into the Olympics. He started a game and then was taken out for precautionary reasons. I honestly I could see him being out for most of the remaining of the season, and then if they make the playoffs, he comes back for playoffs and just powers through whatever injuries he's dealing with.
Part of me thinks that he was scratching the Olympic game because I think Canada has a very strong squad and they can afford to rest him, given that he's probably playing through some injuries. So I'm not like completely sketched out, being like, all right, it's over. But I definitely think, like, from what we've seen from him, he's been hurt a lot recently, and that will linger. Like, just because days are passing doesn't mean that you're always getting better and you're old and you're still playing hockey, right? So, um, I mean, these is crazy because these three teams are stacked, right? We're talking the next three teams we're going to talk about is like Florida, Montreal, Tampa. Like they're all you know similar in the standings ish, but it's
Not Florida.
yeah, except Florida, but they should all be close technically.
Yeah.
And I think the one that's going to need to win games the most is obviously Florida. And they're also the squishiest players. So
Yeah.
I really want Matthew Tkachuk and Reinhardt because I think these are the talismanic players to the team. And I feel like they are integral to the success. I feel like even if the team is doing horrible, these guys will succeed. The other guys, I feel like it's going to be more streaky. Bennett's been on fire. Obviously, Jakey has been reveling in that. I would love to acquire Marchand on the cheap, and Seth Jones. I just don't know what to expect. I feel like you're selling.
No news.
I'm buying low, like kind of how we talked about Robert Thomas earlier. Like that's kind of how I visualize Seth Jones.
I will say with Bennett, 4 straight games with no points heading into the Olympic break.
He was due for some negative regression, though. He was too good.
Yeah, he was on fire, but it could present a decent buying opportunity because maybe his pace was unsustainable, but also 4 straight games of straight zeros is also way not good, and he'll be better than that.
So not really.
I think all these guys are like on at the Olympics right now, like Team Canada, Team USA. Like I feel like they're gonna come back with a fire. Like they're
like pumped.
These are the type of guys that I feel like they have the mentality that after playing in such high stakes games like that, they come back and they're going to be playing. Every game is going to be high stakes for them because they need to make the playoffs. So I think they just translate that energy, and I think it's going to be positive for them. So I do expect Florida to be like off the jump, like really good. But Marchand is a scary one, even though he's the most accessible one, let's say, given the injury.
I mean, yeah, him and Seth Jones, I'm really curious about what's going to happen because by the time the Olympic break ends, he'll have been out for like 6 weeks at that point, which is like a long time. And there's been no news about him. So, I mean, I have him on my team. I'm hoping he comes back.
Would you trade John Carlson for him?
No.
I think the upside's high enough.
Carlson, yes. But like I wouldn't trade Chychrun. Like I think it's a big risk with Jones. Whereas yeah.
Well, even healthy, I'd rather Chychrun to Jones, so I definitely wouldn't do that trade. But yeah, there's a big risk there. So, but if you can get him for cheap, that's the type of trade I love to make. Like if the team with Jones is fighting for a playoff spot or they have too many injured guys or whatever, take advantage of that. And if you have a spot to stash him on your IR, because if he does come back, he's power play 1 quarterback for this Florida team that has elite players on their power play and is going to be fighting like tooth and nail for a playoff spot. That's a really good place to be. And we haven't even seen Jones play yet with a healthy Tkachuk. So, I just think that his ceiling is super, super high. The floor is that he just does not play because he's injured. So, it's a pretty wide range of outcomes.
Would you trade Dylan Guenther for Brad Marchand?
I would not. Even with the worst playoff schedule.
Difference.
I'm really sketched out by Marchand's health, and I think Guenther is really good. So, even though his the playoff difference is there. It's funny because Schmaltz has been I feel like a lot better than Guenther, but in my mind, I'd much rather have Guenther.
Yeah, same. I feel the exact same.
We have the looming feeling of Logan Cooley coming back, I think, and disrupting how these lines look.
I think I would do Schmaltz for Marchand with the playoff difference. Because the thing is, Marchand was really good when he was healthy. This year.
He was.
He's been on fire. So the only tough thing is it feels like he's not using this Olympic break to rest, right, and get better. So, but with this position that Florida's in, they can't afford to rest him if he can play, right? But then it's not always a question of resting. It's also a question of can he play to the best of his abilities if he's playing injured. So there's definitely a risk there, but I don't mind doing a Schmaltz for Marchand.
Sergachev for Seth Jones?
No.
Jake has Sergachev, Josh has Seth Jones.
I mean,
it really depends on the position you're in, I think. If you're comfortably in a playoff position, I think it could, like, healthy Seth Jones, I'd much rather over Sergachev, especially with the playoff schedule.
The reason
But
why you can like get happen is because he's hurt right now.
That's it.
You
the
actually think
ambiguity.
that's
feel-
it? Like even like healthy to healthy, it would be totally out of the question. Like as a Jones
I don't
owner,
think
like
that I don't
I
think the
think
Jones owner is making that trade.
I don't think
Healthy,
it's like
healthy.
I don't think it's like any like I think it's fair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with the unhealthy part of it, that's why I, as a Sergachev owner, I'm like reluctant to say I would do that. You know what I mean? I also think
Yeah.
that Jones, who I do like if healthy rest of the season for sure, is not nearly as impactful as what Marchand's going to be. Like if Marchand's
Yeah.
back, like I know that different archetype, different player, but Marchand would be like a huge part of their success no matter what. Whereas Jones, like
Yeah,
when
when you have Uvis
finally,
Balinskis, you know, who
That's-
needs Jones?
when he finally broke on a power play one, he was great. But you know what I mean? There's still some question marks. Tkachuk was not healthy when Jones had power play one. So that's
Yeah.
another part of the equation to me, you know? Even though I like
Yeah.
Jones, I'd happily trade for Jones. I would do John Carlson, but like Sergachev, who I think is a little bit of a notch above on a Utah team that's also going to need to compete. I'm like,
Yeah, to me, it was just like the playoff schedule. That was the big
Yeah.
question.
yeah.
And because I think with everybody, both of them being healthy, I'd prefer Jones just because the playoff schedule is better. But
Yeah,
now
with
you're
the
adding
injury
the extra
premium,
element of
though.
the ambiguity of the injury.
Yeah.
So I think it makes it more even.
That's
It's
Yeah.
definitely tight.
It's tough
That's it.
because it feels like a lot of times with these,
I
like,
think
you
Matthew
know,
Samuelsson over both, by the way. Just
I feel like a lot of times with these injuries, like, where you don't hear anything, it's like everyone's too scared to send offers, and then like sometimes they just come out of nowhere, like super early, right? And then you're kicking yourself for not doing it. But that doesn't happen when it's on my team. So I feel like, you know, no, but I mean, it's a high risk, high reward play. I would probably do it if I was in a comfortable playoff position. But like, I mean, I'm always the one who's taking the risks, you know, like I feel like it's, that's kind of my archetype, my style.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame anyone for not wanting it, because at the end of the day, it could turn out that you just sent away Sergachev for nothing if Jones just
Yeah.
doesn't play.
Let's talk about the Habs.
Yeah, let's go to the next
Let's talk about the Habs. All right, we've got Olympian Nick Suzuki.
The GOAT.
Future
did you
Olympian.
Did you hear his tip on McDavid? Oh,
Yeah, that was sick.
the chemistry. McDavid, come to Montreal, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Habibi, come to
He was so
Mykonos.
funny after that. He was just like, oh, so this is how easy it is playing with McDavid, huh? You know? But yeah, no, he's playing with McDavid. He's been on a line with McKinnon too. Like it's great for Suzuki. Very fun watching him. We've got future Olympian Cole Caulfield, who should have never been left off the team.
Snubbed.
Future Olympian Lane Hudson,
Snubbed.
probably one of the best Olympic players ever in Slovakian history. Juraj Slafkovsky, he's been insane this Olympics, and actually, like,
he is Team Slovak. It's
literally,
Juraj
like,
Slafkovsky.
Yeah, like this is the first Olympics he's played in, but in every game that he's played with that Slovakia jersey on in different tournaments, whatever, he's been absurd. Like his stats are just nuts. So it's really cool to see. And then Ivan Demidov, who doesn't even have an Olympic team. So that's how
probably
everyone
would
relates to the
if he
Olympics.
did.
You think he would make the team?
I think he'd make the team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
I'm not sure what the Russian depth chart looks like, but I'd be surprised if he didn't.
They got no centers, but they got some wingers.
Yeah. Nikita
Yeah, I think
Kucherov and
he'd make
friends.
Yeah.
No, they would have a sick team. But yeah, so let's talk about the Habs.
We
and what we
love this
expect.
team, obviously, and as
They're the
much as
best
I
team.
want to talk about them all day, I think that there's not much to say because they've all been really good, and I don't want to sell them because of the great playoff schedule, and buying them is going to be really tough. So, like, what do you do with this team?
Yeah, I don't think you have a lot of buy low opportunities on this team, like Jakey just said. If you have these players on your roster, I'm very happy. And you could probably just try to do like lateral moves to get to them. Like, would you do Nylander to Caulfield, or is that too big of a value jump, you think?
I think you'd have to get Caulfield plus. I don't know if I would do that.
Really?
I mean, I love Caulfield, and Caulfield's got the edge on shots and power play points, but like Nylander's like every game he's been injured a bunch, but then he keeps coming back and putting up like 3-4 point games. Like he is a first round, like late first round, early second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And Caulfield's like playing his way into the conversation to be like a 4th round pick or something like that, which is like sick, you know, but
Mhm.
like Nylander's still a tier above. So I think
Does
I still need more.
Does it change anything that the fact that, like, I think if Toronto is close to not making the playoffs, I think Nylander is a prime candidate for getting shut down.
I agree, but I think they are. I think they're fully in the hunt. They've been on a really hot streak going into the Olympics. If they hadn't gone on this hot streak and they were sitting at the bottom of the East like they were a few weeks ago, then I would fully agree. But I think they're going to be fighting right till the end.
Yeah.
Do you like Mitch Marner more or less than Nylander?
Who? Marner?
Mitch Marner.
I think I like Marner more for the power play and the health.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Who's worse than Nylander that you would trade for Caulfield?
Who would I trade for Caulfield? I mean, do you think he probably can't pull off like a Matt Barzal at this point, even though he's been unreal.
I doubt it.
I think you could in a package, like a 2-for-1. If the Caulfield
I would
owner is
definitely
not
do
in
that.
the playoffs, you do like Barzal plus like an Eklund or something. Maybe that gets it done.
Yeah. Zach Hyman I would do for Caulfield for sure. Would you do Tage for Caulfield?
Tage? No. Because I
think I'd
I wouldn't do
keep Tage.
Nylander or Tage.
Yeah.
Would you do Clayton Keller?
I would do Keller.
I would do Keller. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
That's a close one. Yeah, I would also probably do Ovi.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like, and that's like a big name value one that could get done.
Yeah.
And we're talking bangers leagues too, right? Because Ovi does have that to his game still a little bit. Like Tom Wilson, obviously we're taking Tom Wilson, right?
Yeah.
In the bangers league.
Yeah. I love the Keller one. I think that's a perfect one. What about for Zook, for Suzuki? Who do you think?
I feel like it's too hard to acquire Suzuki right now.
I would do Tage for Suzuki.
I don't think they get done.
You don't think so?
No. Why would you get done? Look at the stats.
I think.
Yeah, but Tage has been nuts.
Yeah, but Suzuki's also been nuts.
Yeah.
Suzuki went into the Olympics averaging like 0.6 power play points a game over the last month. Like you're not getting a discount there, right? Like he's been better than like Austin Matthews. I would do Tage. I would do Nylander. I like Tage more than Nylander.
I would do both of those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think those could get done. I don't think those are like impossible.
I don't think those get done. I think the people that have held Suzuki know how good he is. And I just don't think that you're getting any kind of discount. I think you need to be sending a player that is either clearly better in name value or has been better production wise. And there's very few players that have been better production wise. But Jakey just there he is.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
So that's how that feels.
I think it's fair. I think it's really hard to get Zook.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Tampa.
Yeah.
This is another one where there's a lot of difficult to reach guys, and one really clear by low. So we've got Nikita Kucherov, Jake Gensel, Brandon Hagel, Darren Radish, and Braden Point. I think the first four guys are. I mean, Kucherov's untouchable. Like no one's going to trade him. If you have, I'd probably do McDavid or Draisaitl for Kuch at this point with the playoff schedule difference. I think at this point the only guy I'm not trading for Kucherov is McKinnon.
I'll give you him for both.
Yeah.
Throwing Matthews and Celebrini or something. I'll give you Fabian and we're call it even.
Yeah. So I think honestly, like the only guy, because of playoff schedule for these weeks, the only guy I'm not trading for Kuch is McKinnon, right? Is there anyone else that you wouldn't trade for him? I think that's it.
No, in 21 to 23 as well, those are like it's kind of the same. They're both good playoff schedule teams, and the only player I'm willing to accept for Kuch at this point is McKinnon.
Yeah. Then Gensel, I think, is attainable. I mean, you're going to have to pay full price for him, but he's just consistently, slightly above a point per game, like close to 3 shots, being on the power play with Kucherov. Like, you just send a similar player to someone who doesn't know about playoff schedules, and I think you can get that done. Like,
I would trade Nylander for Gensel.
I think Nylander's better, but with the playoff schedule, I think I would probably do that.
I'm lower on Nylander than both of you guys, so depending on how the viewers feel, like, don't put too much emphasis on my take, maybe, unless you really agree with my takes usually.
Yeah.
But
no, but I like that.
I just think I really want to own like the Atlantic teams, and the one that I'm like, I guess, least enthused in a way is Tampa because they're the best.
They're so far ahead, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm
hesitant. Like, I have Kucherov and Hagel on my team, and they're just so good that it's gotten boring. I'm desensitized.
Yeah, exactly. But we're weeks 21 to 23. It's different. This is like really team dependent. Yeah. So, but yeah, Gensel over Nylander is tough. But I guess I'd go with that.
I still think Nylander's better. Like I'm not nearly as low on him as Kevin is, but I think Gensel, like it's a very safe, you know what you're getting, and the playoff schedule difference is pretty nice.
And healthy.
Hagel and healthy, yeah. Hagel, are we?
Hagel's sell high.
What?
I'm absolutely
Yeah, I
trying to
think
sell high.
I'm not buying Hagel. I think he's just too unattainable right now for a reasonable price.
Yeah, if I have Hagel, I'm telling you right now what I'm doing, okay? And if you're a Hagel owner, you can take this advice if you want. You can take it in, let it marinate in your mind. But I'm trying to trade him for Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart. I'm trying to trade
TJ,
him
you
for
writing this
Nick
down?
Suzuki. I'm trying to trade him for Jack Hughes.
Nobody's gonna do that for
These are
Hagel
all
in our
good
league.
names.
They're
Yeah,
fantastic names. And
I'm
I would
trying to trade him
love
for
to.
Marty Natchez.
Okay, so part of
Because
this,
I really sincerely believe that, first of all, I think he's due for some negative regression. I think Tampa's been going on all cylinders, that there's been
Yeah.
a lot of goals or
I mean,
goals
look,
that
as
have
much as
involved all
Kucherov
of
is
them.
insane, he's not going to keep averaging over 2 points per game.
Yeah.
yeah.
And Hagel has just basically been on everything, right?
Yeah.
And I do believe that when Point comes back, I think Hagel gets bumped off power play one. Do I agree with it? No, I think there's room for all of them. Do I think it's going to happen? Yes, I think he's
You
getting
got
bumped
to make
off.
room for Oliver Bjorkstrand, obviously.
So that's
I'm
where my
almost
mind is at.
certain,
And I
I'm
think
almost
even
certain
the
I
risk of
can't.
that is enough to make me want to capitalize on the value right now.
I can't get Matthew Tkachuk for Hagel. I'm almost certain that the Tkachuk owner in our league won't do it. But if you're in that
Did you try it?
position, I would do it. Like, I've spoken to him about trades, and like it's a very difficult situation. But I think
He's not
like
in the
in
playoffs
most
right now.
in most
Yeah.
leagues,
He's a really
like,
good trader, though.
I would do that trade. Like, if you have Hagel, trade him for Tkachuk. It's a big risk reward situation, but like if it
I
pays
think that's
off, it'd be
fantastic.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're not really talking about selling these guys, right? We're talking about acquiring the
Yeah,
playoff
yeah.
schedules. But Hagel specifically, I wouldn't buy just because of the power play one
he's
risk,
the-
and just he's been performing way too high.
He's the most kind of like, okay, overperforming, but then Radish, I guess, is.
But I'm still really happy to have Hagel, though. By the way, like,
Yes,
he was my
yeah.
signature pick. Like, I tried to draft Hagel in every league that I could. I didn't end up with enough of him, to be honest. But I'm really happy with him. I just think that he's such a sell high that you have to capitalize on that. But if I'm stuck with Hagel going into playoffs, oh no, I have a amazing player on my team.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, he's just not the guy I want to buy if you're trading away any of the top trade away
Yeah.
candidates.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. No, it's for the price, pretty much. Yeah, Darren
Yeah.
Radish, I think at this point, like, I mean, I've been for a while, like, confident he's keeping power play one over Hedman. So in my mind, that's not a worry at all. I think just the entire team is going to regress a bit just because of how insanely they've been producing. But that doesn't mean they're going to regress to a level where you're not still extremely happy to have them. But because of how unreal he's been, I still think that, like, he's probably too hard to attain. But, you know, there's the fact that he still doesn't have that name value, right? He's kind of still like everyone, you know, people are like, how the heck is this guy doing this, right? So if the person who owns him is just like, is thinking like, oh, I want to sell high on him now before, you know, Hedman comes back, whatever, you know, all that, then maybe you can get him for a decent price. Like, what would you be willing to give for Radish? Would you give Chikrin?
Yes, I would. To me, if
That's a good
Darren
one.
Radish is not the 5th best defenseman in fantasy rest of the season, he's the 6th best defenseman in fantasy. To me, it's I'm just talking like pure value. It's like Makar, Quinn Hughes, Evan Bouchard, Werenski. And then after that, I'm like, is between Dahlin and Darren Radish, like, maybe you have a preference. But after that, like, I feel like there's a clear tier gap. And anybody behind that, I'd be willing to trade for Darren Radish because he already has a great playoff schedule.
Yeah.
So you doing Bouchard?
If I have
No.
Bouchard, I feel like you could do Bouchard, get Radish plus, and I would absolutely try to do that.
Yeah, depending on the plus, but like one for
Radish
one.
and Brad.
Yes.
I actually like
There
that
you
a
go.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's it.
and I think that could get done.
And then the last one's Braden Point. Obviously,
We've
he's
talked so much
Major
about.
Bilo.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I think he's
Major
coming
Bilo.
back after the
From How I
Olympic
Met Your
break.
Mother. Sorry. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think, and he was turning it on like right before he got injured. So
Yeah.
I think that he's going to be a great buy if you can get him, especially from a team that's fighting for playoffs, right? And kind of afford to take the risk on if he misses an extra week after coming back from the Olympic break.
They've
I like
been
Points a
this
lot.
insane without their second best player. Just nuts. It makes no
Yeah.
sense. And that's like the
It's-
only reason I'm like.
Darren Radish has
thinking-
been healthy the whole season.
You think
No,
he's
that's
their
their first
second-
best
he
player.
could be. Exactly. Exactly. All right, and
And
should we-
lastly,
Yeah.
we've got the Seattle Kraken. Pretty much the only two players I think worth trading for are Jared McCann and Vince Dunn. But Jared McCann I think has been way too hot to trade for right now. And then Vince Dunn, I think he's always attainable. Who would you trade for Dunn?
I don't think these are guys you're trading for with the purpose of trading for them. I think these are guys you include in a package that you're trying to trade someone else. Like, let's say you're trying to acquire Braden Point and the guy also has like a Vince Dunn or a McCann. You make it a 2-for-2, and that's kind of how you approach the situation. 1-for-1, I feel like, if you could trade like a Zuccarello for McCann, I would do that. If you're
I like that.
Like if these are the playoff leagues 22 to 24, these are lower stakes players. Like these are not the guys
Dorofeev for McCann?
Yeah, I would do that.
Hold on. Let me think.
Would you do Tuck for McCann? Or is that too much of an overpay?
I think I'd do that. I like McCann.
I like him a lot also. With the playoff schedule difference.
Yeah.
And just like I feel like I got to get Tuck off my team. If I have like Tuck and my playoffs
aim
are
higher
22 to
than
24, that's it. Like that's the only issue. I want to get him off my team, but I don't want to I want to get full value. So I
think I still rather Dorofeev. Is that crazy? Because Dorofeev has a 3.35. McCann has a 3.37. So it's like you're getting 2 extra games in the finals.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could get 2 extra power play points and 2 less games with Dorofeev, if that makes sense.
I think the volume that like the 7 over the 10-day span is like really good.
Yeah, I'm taking
for
McCann.
Sure. I think you could end up getting 1 extra point or 2 extra points from McCann, but you can get 2 extra points, 2 extra power play points from Dorofeev over that stretch, and I think they can end up being the same shots. And so I'm taking the guy that's on the better power play that I know that at any given game, like it could really pop off. And do I expect Seattle to be as strong at the end of the season? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm leaning.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that McCann is a major sell high. Like I think
he's also squishy.
Performing. Yeah, he's squishy and he's a sell high. I just feel like I'm willing to part with Dorofeev for like I think Dorofeev is better than McCann. That's not the argument. The question is it worth for the playoff schedule? And I think that it's worth it for the playoff schedule.
If he had an edge in like multiple playoff weeks, I think I'd agree with you. But because it's all in 1 week. And it's
the
week
finals,
with the highest volume as well, where like the averages average out more. I'm less inclined. That's my logic.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. But I think that's a close one. I wouldn't fault you either way. What do you do, Sergachev for Vince Dunn?
I
don't think so.
I don't know.
No, you think that's
probably
too low?
not.
Okay.
Because Utah does have, I think they have 6 games in the finals. Yeah. So it's still good compared to a lot of teams that have 5 games. It's just that semifinal week is disastrous because they got 2 games there.
Yeah.
But Seattle's got 3, so it's like 1 extra game of Dunn over Sergachev in the semifinals for like, and then they have an extra game in the finals.
Yeah. I don't know. Personally, I would take Dunn. I think, again, this is another case where I prefer Sergachev over Dunn, but with the playoff schedule,
maybe I'm just not giving
sucks.
Dunn enough flowers for his value.
I mean, look, I'm not the biggest Dunn fan, but I mean, he's locked into power play 1 on Seattle. Not that that's the best place in the world, but Seattle's also trying to acquire some offense. I wouldn't be surprised if they buy. They tried to get Panarin. They had the best offer for Panarin. He just decided he didn't want to go to Seattle. But if he didn't have a no move clause, Panarin would be a Kraken right now. So I think that Dunn has some interest there, and I would do Sergachev for Dunn if your playoffs are week 22 to 24. Well, let's go to the top trade away targets.
We could go through these quicker because we definitely named a lot of them already.
Yeah, we already did a lot of would you rathers.
Yeah, exactly. So first we have Buffalo, Alex Tuck, Rasmus Dahlin, Tage Thompson, Matthias Samuelsson. I need to get one name out of you guys for Alex Tuck. Like, who are we sending Alex Tuck for? Because I feel like I keep throwing him out, and you guys like, nah, that's not good enough for him. That's not good enough.
I would send for Jesper Bratt.
Okay, I would do that.
I would send for Drake Batherson. Drake Batherson is like the perfect target in my mind.
Yeah, there we go. We found it. Drake Batherson. It's always the answer. Batherson. Yeah.
I actually think you can aim even like I think I'd rather Dylan Cousins, and you could get Dylan Cousins
over Batherson.
Yeah, I think so. Especially in a face-offs league, the shots hits are more reliable. I don't know.
Yeah, the shots hits are more reliable. I think the points are more reliable from Batherson's side, but also I think that. Target the one that you need to position more, the pure C versus the left wing, right wing. Whichever one fits your team structure better, I think I would aim for those guys. If you can flip him for Braden Point, I think Point, Batherson, BS per Brad are like the main targets I'd be trying to go for if I have Alex Tuck. Not only are you're flipping a bad playoff schedule for a good playoff schedule, you're flipping a sell high for a buy low.
And you're flipping a power play 2 for a power play 1.
Exactly. So those are really things that we try to do. And I mean, listen,
Okay.
there's probably a lot of names if we went through the whole league, but
Yeah, I know. I'm happy with that. I
What-
needed like because my advice to anyone who has Tuck is I'm trying to sell it for week
Yeah,
22 to
always.
24. Like I'm trying to. I mean, always. Yeah, exactly. So we just needed to get some names out there.
Crazy idea. Wouldn't do this, but if you could get Will Smith plus, I actually like. I wouldn't do this for one because I think you could do like get more. But Will Smith, I wouldn't be surprised if he alone has a better finish to the season than Tuck. I know that's crazy,
Yeah.
but
I
just
agree.
another like more low key.
My favorite thing to do with Alex Tuck is use him as a 2-for-1 piece and getting a 1 because I think he holds a lot of value. Like people like Alex Tuck.
Yeah.
His production is always there too. It's just a lack of power play 1, but a lot of people don't put as much stock into that when they see his points level pretty high. So if you can do like Tuck plus, Tuck plus Keller for, you could get maybe like a Brady Tkachuk or something, or like a Matthew Tkachuk. I feel like that's feasible. You're getting into that
Yeah.
top level player. I think Tuck is a avenue that allows you to do that.
Mhm.
I would try
Yeah.
to do that.
I was
Yeah.
saying the opposite. I was like a Tuck for like a Will Smith and a
You could go both
and an
ways.
Owen Tippett. You know,
Yeah.
I think that could work.
But I
love
like
that.
using Tuck I always like consolidating more than the
For
opposite.
sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
But it
but I
depends where your
think
team's
that's
at
it. Yeah.
and your league
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Mhm.
All right. Next we have Toronto, John Tavares, Matthew Nyes, William Nylander, Austin Matthews. I mean, I don't think Tavares and Nyes have much trade value these days. They just have
No.
not been very good. So I wouldn't be trying to sell them just because I don't think you could get much in return. Nylander, I think we've talked about
yeah,
way too much. For
Ample.
Matthews, who are you sending Matthews for? We talked about Celebrini as a target. Is there any other of these names that you think
I'd do it for Brady.
I was
In
gonna
a
say if you're in a
bangers
full
league?
banger league, I would absolutely trade for Brady. I think
Yeah,
You think
Matthews-
that's
hits,
attainable?
shots, hits. Yeah.
I think it's attainable for sure. I think Matthews
Okay,
still
well,
has a
I
lot of
love
name
that.
value. The thing is, Brady's been like pretty good with the points too. Like he's been close to a point per game where that's not usually in his bag.
Yeah.
But like the shots, the hits, the face-off
Yeah.
wins, the power play points have all been there. I
would
think
you
he's
do
more
like
reliable.
would you do Matthew Tkachuk, or is that
I think that's too low.
Too low.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so too.
I
I
agree.
think
But-
so too.
But would I do
I
Matthew
wouldn't do
Tkachuk plus?
I know Suzuki's like a really close one. Like I don't know if
Somebody did that trade.
Land on
Remember, I said it. Like they traded Austin Matthews for Nick Suzuki, and they were happy about it.
Yeah,
I still
wouldn't
think
do
you're
that
getting
one for
caught
one.
on. You're caught on the production too hard.
Yeah.
I think the shots and the blocks.
Yeah,
you
for
know that's
sure.
like something
it's
for
too-
Matthews.
yeah. So I'd say
But-
the two main ones for improving your playoff schedule, I'd be targeting Celebrini and Tkachuk.
Would you do for Jack Hughes? You could get Jack Hughes plus. Would you do it?
Plus
Jack
yeah,
Hughes
not,
plus
not one for
Drake
one.
Batherson.
Pro
Hughes and
Oh.
Batherson.
the old Batherson conundrum.
I feel like I'd do that.
Look, if Hughes is healthy, I love that trade.
hmm
That's it's a big
But
if.
I think it only gets done because he has the ambiguity.
100%, 100%. You know
Yeah.
what? I think I do that. Especially with the
Fair.
two great playoff schedules. Like,
Mhm.
I think that's
You're
that's
not
really
losing on
solid.
shots,
Yeah.
and you're not losing on power play points
And faceoffs are usually not a thing in leagues.
Yeah.
in most
so-
leagues. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're losing
Either way,
blocks
Hughes,
and you're
Hughes
losing
getting like two
by
faceoff
goals
wins.
and points.
Yeah, and Hughes getting two faceoff wins from the wing is like almost as valuable as like Matthews getting like 10 from like the center
Really?
position. Yeah,
10,
because you just
oof, yeah.
because then like
I
you
thi-
could just pick up another center, right?
Fair. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, okay, I would do that trade too.
Yeah.
Okay. let's
Okay,
go
then
to
we
the
had
next
the
one.
Islanders. So Matthew Schaefer, Matt Barzal, Bo Horvat. I think the biggest name here, you got to trade Matt Barzal. He is just 1.2 points per game over the past month. Bad playoff schedule. Huge sell high. Who are we selling Barzal for? What's the highest you think we can get for him?
Batherson. No, that's not the highest. I think you can aim higher.
You can aim higher, I think.
Brilliant point.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I would definitely do point.
I mean, the names
Yeah.
you mentioned before are like obviously the buy low, so you want to always aim for like sell high, buy low.
Yeah.
But is there a world where you could get like a Marty Natchez if you did a package like Barzal plus?
I think it would have to be a like Barzal and Batherson for for Natchez.
I think that's not crazy.
I think that could get done possibly. And I would
Barzal
like that
for Cole
for sure.
Caulfield.
I was just gonna say Caulfield. I mean, I would love that. I don't know if it gets done, but if you can pull that off, I
would
mean,
do
the
it for
fact is
Nico
he's
Hischier.
1.2 over the past. Yeah, I would do that too.
Would you do Konechny?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would.
That
I
could
mean,
work.
these are all great names, and I think
Cool.
Barzal has a lot of pull right now. He's got the name, and he's 1.2 points per game in
Yep.
the past month, so I think it's
Yeah.
great. All right, let's go to Washington. We've got John Carlson, Dylan Strome, Alex Ovechkin, Tom Wilson, and Jacob Chikrin. As usual, we're team get John Carlson off your team, and I would take almost anyone for Karlsson, honestly. I feel like I'm trying to think like the worst guy like that I would take for Karlsson.
Did you do Eklund?
Samuelson?
I mean,
but
Samson also has the
Samuelson's
bad
also bad.
schedule.
I know, I
So,
know.
Would you do it?
but
Would you
honestly,
do
I'd rather
Eklund?
have Samuelson on my team.
Whoa, that makes me feel nice.
Honestly, I'd rather have Eklund on my team than Karlsson. I'm
I think you
very
could probably
very low on
Eklund.
Karlsson.
Hmm.
Like I think value wise, like Karlsson has way more trade value than Eklund.
Yeah, he does.
So I think you could do a lot better. But who would I rather have on my team come playoffs? If you're weeks 22 to 24, I'd rather have Eklund.
Wait, I have a perfect name for you. Justin
Okay.
Falk.
I was just looking at that, and that's tough.
That's good because Falk doesn't have the best category coverage. It comes in waves. It's like some weeks he'll be good at blocks, some weeks he'll get you straight zeros. He's never good at hits. The shots are kind of fluctuating. The points also, it's like on the season, he's at 0.5, but like recently he's at like 0.8.
Yeah. That's tough because he is power play 1, whereas Karlsson isn't, and St. Louis has a great playoff schedule, but like I just don't have any faith in Falk. I just think you could get better.
Yeah.
I think you could get better.
I think
But I was looking at that name also.
Would you?
I'm trying to think.
Probably 1 for
You know
1 for Seth Jones.
I was about you're literally like reading my mind. I was about to say if I have Karlsson and I have a free IR spot, I'm trading him for Seth Jones. I'd rather I think the downside of losing Karlsson for nothing is so worth the upside of getting Seth Jones for him. So I think that's a perfect one.
Yep.
And then for these other ones, I think Chychrun you can try and get pretty much like Chicken for Radish we had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could get
done. I
done.
don't think that gets done.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
I think Chychrun's got name value, and I think he's probably like 2 or 3 defensemen down on the list of top defensemen after Radish. And I think in some leagues, like the Radish owner, just like sometimes you're holding these guys and like you're enjoying the ride, but in your back of your head, you're like, this guy's overperforming. I should probably sell high. So if someone gives you the opportunity to kind of cash out for like a safer bet, I think it's possible.
I think Jake Sanderson's more attainable than Radish.
Yeah, really? Okay, well then
I
I would definitely do that. I like that as well. I think it's a really good one.
Would you do it for Lane Hudson or Dougie Hamilton?
Definitely do it for Lane Hudson, and honestly, yeah, probably for Dougie. I'm sorry, like I'm trying to wipe away the whole beginning of the season where he was terrible. But
you're
like
tempering your
expectations.
expectations. I'm just like, he's here, baby. He's
yeah, exactly. He has arrived. Hey, I'll trade him to you for if you want. You know,
I got Erik Karlsson with your name on him.
No, thank you.
Okay. Matthias Samuelsson.
Okay, now we're talking.
My only 2 defensemen.
Yeah, so then we've got Vegas. So Pavel Dorofeyev, Thomas Hertl, Mark Stone, Mitch Marner, Jack Eichel.
I do feel the need to say that Tom Wilson, we barely touched on him, but like he's an elite fantasy asset in bangers leagues. Like even through the bad playoff schedule, I'm not really trying to look to get rid of him, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Because what he does, you just can't replace, even with like one more game or whatever. Like it just...
like if you could, Tom Wilson or Jack Hughes.
I mean, it really depends what your team needs, right? We're talking bangers, cats leagues.
Yeah, we're talking bangers leagues that have PIMs and like hits, obviously.
I mean, I still think Hughes is more valuable, but I think, I think Hughes is more valuable when healthy again. Big asterisk there. But Wilson is less replaceable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the archetype of player is just like he hasn't even been that good for points like last month. You know, like he's been like at point like 7.5 or something, but like he's over 2 PIMs, like over 2 shots, like over 2 hits, like he just does it all. I mean, I'd still take Jack Hughes over him, but like
I'm still taking Jack Hughes.
If your team is like a really strong points team and that's not what you need, there are situations where I'd be like, even though it is a better player, it doesn't make my team better.
Would you trade him for Matthew Tkachuk?
Yeah, I would take Tkachuk.
Okay, what about Reinhardt?
Yeah, I would take Reinhardt.
Okay.
Same. Let's go to Vegas.
I like those. Yeah, so I pretty much just named the 5 forward power play on Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the biggest name is Mark Stone, right? Like he's like 1.5 on like the season points per game. It's just been absurd. I think at this point he's just is absurd. I don't think he's going to be this crazy to finish out the season, but he's definitely going to be over a point per game easily. But who are we trading him for to improve the playoff schedule without losing value? I think this like you can aim super high with him. Would you take Matthew Tkachuk over Stone?
With the schedule difference, I think that's what gives it the edge.
I think specifically, like, what if your league doesn't count penalty minutes? Because I think that's one of Tkachuk's big assets is his PIMs.
Then no, Stone's been so good all season.
But the playoff
I
schedule.
think I'm still taking Matthew Tkachuk. I think you're getting an extra game in the quarters, an extra game in the semifinals, and the same amount of games in the finals. It's not like a huge difference when you're really putting it on aggregate. But I do think with the added element that I could see Stone being held out for any kind of time. Like if there's anything with him, like they won't risk it, right? Like they're gonna make the playoffs. I think Tkachuk. I really think the Panthers are gonna try to finish strong. So I'm banking on them going full force and potentially Vegas, like, pushing the brakes a little bit if they need to.
Yeah.
I would do that. I think they're close enough that I would do it.
I would take Tkachuk as well. Vegas literally has zero competition in their whole division. I mean, like they have the Oilers, but like other
They're
than
playing
that,
for overall seeding.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I could definitely see them resting some guys, and Mark Stone is the prime rest candidate for this team. Like wrap him in bubble wrap for the last week, and then have him ready for playoffs.
Of course, if that happens, like
I mean, you can't predict it, but like if I had to guess who on this team is most likely to get rested, I'm guessing Mark Stone.
Yeah, it's fair.
What about
I was gonna say Hurdle. Like I feel like he's the quote unquote potentially least valuable out of the bunch, given he's line 3C and power play 1. Absolutely, I think Brock Nelson's a fantastic name. I think you could probably get maybe Braden Point too. I mean, we keep mentioning the buy low guys, but I'd still do that.
Dylan Cousins,
Drake Batherson.
I mean, I would, yeah.
Give me all these Ottawa guys.
Yeah. Obviously, one note is if your league counts face-off wins, he's a winger with face-off wins, so
here's
you have to take that into account. But yeah,
Hurdle or Zegras?
I think I'm going Hurdle, even with the worst playoff schedule.
With the playoff schedule difference,
I think the difference in value is too big there.
Hurdle or Slav?
Slav.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna have a monster finish.
Hurdle.
I think I'm taking Hurdle over Demidov.
Yeah, Hurdle for me too.
Yeah, although Demidov's
Jared McCann.
I'm taking Hurdle over McCann.
I like McCann a lot.
You want McCann, Jiggy?
Yeah, even though I feel weird going McCann over Demidov.
I don't think it's crazy either.
Yeah,
McCann over Demidov is tough. I get it though. He's more talismanic to his team.
Hurdle or Elias Pettersson?
Hurdle. Let's go to the next team.
All right, next we've got the Utah. So we've got Nick Schmaltz, we've mentioned him a bunch. Mikhail Sergachev, we mentioned a bunch. Dylan Genther, Clayton Keller. I feel like we've given good names for all of these. Like the Keller Caulfield one was my favorite for him.
Yeah.
Sergachev, we mentioned a bunch. Schmaltz as well. So I think we could kind of skip over this one.
Are you really like? I just want one thing on Schmaltz though. Like, is he a must sell right now before the Logan Cooley comes back? Because I think there's a chance that it stays the same even when Cooley comes back.
I don't think Cooley coming back is the end of Nick Schmaltz's fantasy relevance for this year. I think Nick Schmaltz has been fantasy relevant even with Cooley in the lineup. I think the only thing he's going to really lose out on is face-off wins. But like other than that, and like maybe he'll take a bit of a dip at points, but he's not losing his deployment. He's still going to be line 1, power play 1. If anything, he'll have a better line mate now, so I think that I don't think he's a must sell in the sense of Logan Cooley coming back. I think he's more of a must sell in the sense of bad playoff schedule plus overperforming. So that's more where I'm worried at. But the Cooley stuff doesn't worry me.
It's just that 2 games in the semifinals is like really tough to hold on to when you could probably trade him right now for someone that has like 4 games.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to keep in mind for the viewers and in our trade targets.
Yeah.
I feel like right now you can comfortably get Will Smith, and then sooner than later you're going to get William Meckland. So you're downgrading Williams on the Sharks if you hold too long with Schmaltz. And I know what you're saying, Josh, is like it could go down, but like it won't go down too much with Cooley coming back, but there is a chance that he's just been super good anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, he's definitely overperforming. I just mean that like I think he's going to regress just in general, not because of Cooley.
Fair. Yeah. Let's go to the Oilers.
Let's go to Edmonton. We've got, again, the power play 1 unit, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Bouchard, Draisaitl, McDavid. I mean, we've talked about Nuge a bunch as like he's someone we're really trying to move off of. We've thrown Hyman's name out there a few times. For Bouchard, I think you're only doing it if you're getting like a Makar, like we said, if you can get Radish plus, I mean, do any of the other top guys, but I mean like Quinn Hughes has the same bad playoff schedule as Bouchard, so that's kind of like lateral. Werenski has like a mid schedule, so you'd probably be gaining like 1 game. So like in terms of like good playoff schedule, I'd say the biggest target is Makar, and I think Bouchard possibly 1-for-1 or Bouchard plus. Like I think you get done with the difference in how they've been playing.
Hudson plus 2.
Yeah, I like that too. With the playoff schedule for
Hudson
sure.
and
Radish plus always.
Yeah. Just toss in Batherson and we're good.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the two big boys of Dry and McDavid, it's either McKinnon or Kucherov, right? That's pretty much it.
Yeah, or like Brady plus, and that's
Celebrini
really
plus.
the extent. Yeah, true, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a Nugent Hopkins though, who's the worst player you'd be willing to trade him for?
I mean, I would take McCann over Nugent Hopkins.
That might be the worst player you'd be able.
I would take Demidov, and I just established reluctantly that I'm higher on McCann than Demidov, so I think I would take Demidov over Nuge as well.
Yeah.
Would you do it for Dylan Holloway?
With the injury,
the injury is sketchy. I probably wouldn't unless it's confirmed that he's back after the Olympics. I don't think the reward is worth the risk on that one, because I think like if Holloway's healthy, I think you could still pull that trade off. So I don't think you have to do it while it's not one of those where like take advantage while he's injured. Like it's like you can afford, assuming your trade deadline's not that late.
I mean,
like,
people have their trade deadlines like before the like when ours is like February 25th. Like that's you're not gonna get a lot of content after the Olympics.
For sure. I wouldn't take the risk on Holloway with Nuge. I just, even though I love Holloway, I have him on my team and I'm hoping big things, but I just don't think it's worth the risk.
I think one of the best names that I would target is Jesper Bratt, because I think the sentiment is so low. If you can make that flip, I think that's you're golden right there. I think that's also like a low risk trade, because I don't think you're losing that much in terms of production from Nuge, but I think the sentiment around him is positive because like he's been kind of consistent at this level, whereas Bratt you're expecting more. So the fact that he's giving you less and it's still kind of close to Nuge.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. Yeah. I mean, another thing with Nuge, like he's line 3. You know, like when
he's
everyone's
Thomas
healthy,
Hertl, but on a worse situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's definitely my number one. Get him off your team. Yeah. All right. Lastly, we've got Minnesota. So Matt Zuccarello, Joel Eriksson-Ek, Matt Boldy, Quinn Hughes, Kirill Kaprizov. Zuccarello is obviously the biggest sell high. Like I said, he's 0.5 power play points over the past month, point per game. Like him, I would send for like so many of. I mean, we've talked about him a lot, right? Like I would send him for almost anyone that we mentioned in the trade targets. Again, you like to say who's the lowest guy you would go. I mean, I like the McCann one. As a guy I would go to. That's one where I think I would take the shot on Holloway. I think I would take the shot on Holloway with Zuccarello.
Fair enough.
Just the shots hits combo with like potential. Like I think that's a good one.
I think I would send him for every name except for Justin Falk.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, yeah. I fully agree.
You do it for Eklund? Yeah. I think that's kind of close too.
It is close, but I think Eklund could have.
With the playoff with San Jose having the best playoff schedule, I think I would do that.
Yeah. I mean, you said no, I think that I would definitely do that.
The thing is, if you're rostering Zuccarello, Eklund's probably on your waivers. So
yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
Try to get Will Smith.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we talked about Quinn Hughes. Very similar to Bouchard. You're targeting like Makar or like like some of those like Radish plus or Hudson plus type of things. Kaprizov, we talked about Celebrini. Kaprizov for Brady Tkachuk. Would you guys do that?
Yeah, I would.
I would do that.
Obviously, we're talking like full bangers cats.
Full bangers cats. But with the playoff schedule difference.
Yeah. And obviously Kucherov, like if you can do Kaprizov plus for Kuch, that would be great.
Or would you do Boldy for Natchez?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's a perfect name.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams in the middle here that we didn't talk about, but like I would still do Kaprizov for Pasta.
Yeah.
If that's feasible for you. I know Boston doesn't have as good of a playoff schedule in week 24 compared to what they were doing in week 21 to 23. But they have Boston has one less game than Minnesota in the finals, but they have one more game in the quarters and the semis. So
it's still a net positive. It's just not as big a jump as what we've been talking about. But yeah, I definitely I would do that. And then I think Natchez Boldy was a great one. And then
Boldy I think we mentioned. Boldy's the one I want to ask you guys questions about, because we haven't talked about Boldy in forever, it feels like. I feel like he's always like round 2 player Matt Boldy. We're just giving him his flowers, but nobody's actually talking about him.
Yeah.
Where do you rank him? Like, are you trading Boldy for Matthew Tkachuk? I feel like that's feasible.
I would take Tkachuk, yeah.
Would you do Boldy for Brandon Hagel?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Wait, you're saying
I have Boldy trade him for Brandon Hagel.
Yeah,
because you're going to playoff jump there. You're trading bad playoff schedule for good playoff schedule.
Fair, yeah.
I'd do Boldy for Gensel.
That may be surprising
to a lot of people,
but I would
better than Gensel, but like I agree, Gensel's safer. So like I would probably, I'm with you there.
And I will say with that one, I think Boldy's better than Gensel, but it's just the playoff schedule. Like, that's one of those like giving up a bit of value for the better schedule.
What about Cole Caulfield?
I beat you to it this time.
Yeah, you did.
I would do that.
Caulfield.
Just for the playoff schedule. Again, like I'd rather have Boldy if it was the same schedule.
Tim Stutzel.
All right.
Yeah, I would do
Okay,
Stützle.
last one. I would do Stützle as well. Let's go to the goalies.
All right, let's go to the goalie section. So the way we rank the goalies is essentially it's games played and then subtracting any back-to-backs because obviously they're not going to play that. And then there's good matchups. So essentially we took the bottom 10 goals for teams, which is very strong overlap with the bottom 10 teams in the league, and consider those good matchups. And we gave those a lot of weight. So like any game played is 1 point, and then good matchups like 0.75. Toss that all together and come up with 3 tiers of goalies. So I'll start with the A tier, and then I'll go to like I'll say the good ones and the bad ones, and anything I don't mention is in the middle. So the good ones, we've got Colorado, San Jose, LA, Anaheim, Vegas, Chicago, Dallas, Utah. And then the bad ones, Columbus, Ottawa, Buffalo, Carolina, Nashville, Boston, Pittsburgh, Toronto, Islanders. So top goalies from the top teams. This is in order of best to worst playoff schedule, but they're all in that top tier. We've got Mackenzie Blackwood, Darcy Kemper, Lucas Dostal, Aiden Hill, Spencer Knight, Jake Ottinger, and Karel Vejmelka.
The Askarov shade right now that I'm feeling
I didn't include him because I'm not convinced that he's like getting more than 50% starts.
I think he's still the starter. I think you saw leading into the break, he had a bad game, and then they went back to him against Colorado.
Yeah,
so
no,
that
he
kind of
definitely
makes
is
me
the
think
1A.
that he has.
But like, I wouldn't
edge.
consider him like a full starter. Like, I think all these other guys I listed are clear starters.
Yeah, that's fair. But I still want to just shout it out because San Jose has such a good schedule. I'm not just saying this because I have Askarov.
No, for sure.
But I think in most leagues, Askarov is not rostered. But come playoff time, if he's on your waivers and you need somebody to stream, like he will be a guy that's worth mentioning. And I wouldn't be surprised if San Jose like has a good run of games right after the Olympic break and his roster percentage shoots up because we know San Jose has a good strength of schedule end of season, and they also have a fantastic weeks 22 to 24 fantasy playoff schedule. So
I mean, I'm still keeping an eye out on them making a trade. Like, I know they already did the Sherwood trade, but I think they're like, if they can find a like power play 1 defenseman to target, like I think they're going to, or just honestly any NHL defenseman would improve their decor, and obviously that would help Askarov. So I'm keeping an eye out on that for sure. I think that's a good note. Of these top goalies, I think Darcy Kemper's the clearest buy low. He's been absolutely awful on my team, but I think it's tough because we did the last episode. I was like super hyped, like they just got Panarin, it's sick, and now we're doing this episode and Fiala just got a season-ending injury, so I'm like, well, that's obviously an L. But I still think that the outlook, like I think they're gonna be fighting to the very end. It's more like the intention behind, like when they make a trade like the Panarin trade, they're signaling we are all in for the next like year or two. Like we are all in on winning. We're not selling. We're not half-assing it or whatever, like like we're coming all the way and we're trying to win. So I think that's a really good sign for Kemper owners. And I think he's a great buy low. I think what are some names you think? I think you could get him pretty cheap, honestly. Let me go to the bottom goalies and we can mix and match and see which ones we think.
I do think the other big buy low is Aiden Hill. I think a lot of people are already giving up on him. I think he's been really awful since coming back from injury, and it was kind of like a split with Akira Schmid. So I think people either got dropped in your league or people just hate him. So I think his sentiment and Kemper's are pretty similar right now.
Yes, no, I think that's a great shout out. And honestly, Spencer Knight, like I don't think he has the same upside as Kemper and Hill because he's just not on nearly as good a team. But we saw him be really good at the start of the season, and if he's playing against easy opponents and getting a lot of starts, and we also all expect Bedard to kind of turn it on, even like after the Olympics. So I think that's a good shout as well.
This is kind of I view some situations where just like the owners hate these guys, and I have other sentiments where like people are just like strong disappointed in these guys. I think people hate Kemper, people hate Aiden Hill, people are disappointed in Spencer Knight. Yeah. I think it's just like the expectations of what you were expecting. Like Spencer Knight was so good for you leading like in the early seasons that we were like sell high, sell high, sell high. You could have got Mackenzie Blackwood at the time or Jake Ottinger or whatever. And now they're like, okay, disappointed that like they're not gonna drop him. They don't have a vendetta against him, but they could.
Yeah. No, I agree. The Kemper and Hill hate is very real.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the bottom goalies and try and do some mix and matching for people who have them. So bottom goalies these are teams on the who don't have the good playoff schedules for goalies. We've got Ilya Sorokin, Joseph Woll, Stuart Skinner, Jeremy Swayman, UC Saros, Brandon Bussey, Alex Lyon, Linus Allmark, and Chet Greaves.
Yeah.
So who's the biggest sell high here? I mean, obviously it's Sorokin, right? He's just been absolutely absurd, like 6 shutouts on the season. Feels like 4 shutouts in his last 8 games.
But I think
he's been absurd.
I think I'm only getting Ottinger back for that. And honestly, maybe Vejmelka
I'll take Blackwood.
You take Blackwood?
I would for sure. I think Blackwood's the best goalie to have for the fantasy playoffs, weeks 21 to 23 and 22 to 24.
So this is no longer a tandem of sorts at all. That means. So if that's the case, then yeah, sure. I'll take Blackwood and Ottinger and maybe Vejmelka plus.
Yeah. Would you do Kemper or Hill?
Would I do Kemper or Hill for Sorokin?
I don't think so.
Like plus, because 1-for-1 you wouldn't do that, but
Kemper plus Batherson for Sorokin.
I don't think I would even do that. I think you got to get.
I think I'd consider it.
Caulfield.
I would do that. I think.
I think you need to aim a little bit higher because Sorokin's been so good.
He's been unreal.
He's been the best fantasy goalie in terms of stats.
Yeah. Because he actually is one of, if not the best goalies in the league. That's the thing. And the Islanders are finally playing. They got Schaefer, and they traded for Carson Soucy and Palat. All these, they're
names.
A wagon now, basically.
Yeah.
that was a joke.
They're clearly all in.
So I just think that there's definitely this is the highest point you'll be able to sell them. So you may as well aim as high as you can.
They have the worst playoff schedule for goalies. He's going to get potentially 3 starts in the quarters, 2 starts in the semis, and then 3 starts in the finals. There's some goals that will end up
and
winning
only 2 good
games.
matchups on all of that.
Yeah, so it's the matchups are hard and the quantity is bad. So one bad game will really influence your categories for the goalies at that point. So I think it's just it's a high risk situation holding on to him, hoping that he's going to be delivering the performance that he's already been doing in your championship finals or semis, right? I think I'm absolutely trying to, yes, it's maybe a risk trading for a goalie that's been worse right now, way worse. But if you can get a significant player upgrade, I'm really trying to do that right now.
For Kemper, fair, but for Hill, no. Hill's I'm one of those I have given up on Hill. The percentages are going to be horrible.
I still believe.
I think, despite the fact that he may get some wins, but he'll finish the game 16 saves on 19 shots and a win type thing. You know what I mean?
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Who else on these this sell list is a big? I
think Stuart Skinner, Swayman, Woll. Bussey is the big one. He doesn't lose games. This guy, all he does is win.
Yeah.
All he does is win. Brandon Bussey of the Carolina Hurricanes.
If you could do Bussey for. I would do it. Okay, so the ones I would do it for: Blackwood, Kemper, Ottinger, Vejmelka. I don't know if I would do it for Dostal, Hill, or Knight.
Yeah, that's
teams that
tough,
are more worried about the wins coming in. That makes sense.
But Hill, I feel like Vegas is. I'm not worried about their wins.
Yeah, but
he
might
more
just
the
get less
stats.
wins because he's still splitting.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think that. Honestly, I think you could probably get Kemper plus. I feel with how they've been, and I think that could be a big win with playoff schedule looking like this. I think that's I really feel like it's tough, especially as a Kemper owner. I'm part of the hate camp, he's been awful, but it just feels like you have such an opportunity here. When do you get a starting goalie on a team that should be good with an unreal playoff schedule like that, who's been playing so bad? It feels like this is a glaring opportunity to buy. And with some of these guys who are just performing so well but have bad playoff schedules, it feels like you can do that, Kemper plus Batherson, whatever for one of these guys. It just feels kind of a really good opportunity.
Yeah, and there's a lot of goalies that we're not talking about, obviously, right? In that middle pack of they don't have elite playoff schedules, they don't have bad playoff schedules. They're kind of in the middle, and I'm sure there's a lot of names in there that could be worthwhile for Bussy, the Bobrovskys, if you're really buying into the Florida bounce back, or Connor Hellebuck, if that's even feasible. Maybe the Hellebuck or wouldn't do it. Is Bussy better potentially? So
that's so funny. Just imagine telling someone
crazy,
at the beginning of the season that you'd rather Brandon Bussy to Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, your first round pick. Scratch that.
That's so funny. What I like about this is that a lot of the teams with bad playoff schedules are sell highs in and of themselves. Bussy is honestly Sorokin is with how good the Islanders have been.
Alex
Skinner,
Lyon.
Swayman, Lyon, tremendous sell high. I guess Allmark is probably the least sell high of them all because he's basically played like 2 games since he got back. But yeah.
All
But
right, I think that's
last thing I will say, as always for these goalies, like I think the trades are more ambiguous, but I would just take away that like if these are the goalies on your team, like if you have some of the top goalies, I feel very comfortable going into the fantasy playoffs with them on my roster, like holding down at least one of my goalie spots. And if I have one of the bottom goalies, it's not like your fantasy chances are dead in the water, but I would seriously consider making a move. That's kind of how I'm viewing the situation.
Yeah.
yeah.
What's
And I
the
think there's,
opposite
like,
of a pre-Fache?
a post-Fache.
Post-Fache.
You just gave a good post-Fache.
Post-Fache.
Yeah, I think this is like the situation where you and the people you possibly in your league like trading with have a different level of information available to you because this is kind of like a deep dive, right? Like most people aren't going to think, oh, I have Brandon Buzzy, like he's got a terrible playoff schedule. I have Ilya Sorokin, he's got a terrible playoff schedule. Because most people either will just look at the overall games played,
Mhm.
they won't look at the back-to-backs, they won't look at the matchups, or they just won't look ahead that far at all, So
Yeah.
like it's a chance to, with a non-equal amount of information available to you, to take advantage and make some trades that to the outside might look like maybe an L even, or just like people might be like, why'd you do that? But then come playoff time, you'll be much better off.
Yep. And Josh built an amazing visual table in our Google Doc that we've been referencing. After this episode goes live, I can post like a screenshot of the Google, just like the table in the playoff optimization Discord channel. So everybody that's in the Discord, good for you. I think for weeks 21 to 23, we have a specific one built for that, and weeks 22 to 24, Josh did an incredible job. You see all the games broken down by week. You see the total games. You see the score that he attributed to everybody. So I think it would be a fantastic resource, and it can be like you look at that when you're thinking of potential trades as
I think
well.
that wraps us up.
Yeah, no, it's a great resource. Congrats to everyone who joined the Discord community. And if you're not in there already, definitely join so you can see what that's all about. Okay. Thank you to everybody for listening to our part 2 playoff primer, weeks 22 to 24. This was another fun one. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube and give this video a like if you enjoyed. Also follow on all the socials. It's in the podcast description. And last but not least, that Discord community, if you want to see that beautiful spreadsheet that Josh built. And also, I love the antics, or not the antics, whatever you guys are doing with this. the promotion. Yeah. And the Discord community, definitely join that. It's just a great place to be. And especially now that we'll be posting this, it's going to help a lot. I wanted to be part of the fun. Yeah. Okay, take it away, Ernie.
Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
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 Nice.